My name is Livia Firth, and I'm on a mission to bring about a more beautiful future for fashion, one that connects us with the people and places that produce the clothes we wear. My quest to unwrap this increasingly complex supply chain has taken me all over the world, exploring everything from factories to fibers. Now my journey has led me here to Tasmania, just off the southern coast of Australia. I'm here to examine wool up close, a fiber with a long history, and I think an important future. To meet wool producers in this extraordinary landscape is a long-held ambition of mine. I want to learn about the impact that wool has on the animals, on the land, and its true effect on the environment. My first stop is to meet local farmers Matt and Vanessa Danbaben. The farm they manage has been in this family for 7 generations.
We see ourselves as custodians, so we're the current custodians of the land, and we have all of the generations that have gone before and the ones that will come after us. So we need to really care and nurture and look after the land during our generation, so that we'll still be there in another 7 generations' time. Because our property is so heavily forested, we've put a lot of effort into conserving a lot of the forest types that we have here. So we have 2,000 hectares of nature conservation reserve. We have our foreshores are fenced off so that they can grow. A lot of the property is looked after just for its nature conservation value rather than farming. So the small parts of the farm that are productive and are good for farming, we actually work those so that they can produce well and be productive, so that we can actually care for and manage all of our bushland.
All of Tasmania's native animals are represented here on the farm. So with 80% of the property is bush. We're managing many more native animals than we are sheep.
I knew I was going to visit the front line of wool production, but what I hadn't appreciated is that Tasmania is spearheading an ambitious program of landscape-scale restoration. Farmers like Matt and Vanessa are an integral part of that program. To them, protecting the Tasmanian devil and indigenous flora and fauna goes alongside raising their sheep, and of course their brood of children.
I'll lift you up. We press the wool into bales, so there's some bales over there, so the fleeces get put in and pressed up. It hasn't been trod down yet, so it's...
Yeah. Is that the process? So cool. So you can fit more.
Yeah, otherwise it builds up.
We've been so divorced from who makes the clothes, where the materials come from. And obviously in terms of materials, most of what we're wearing today is all either polyester or synthetic. There's no, that natural material like wool. People don't really know about it anymore.
No, and they, wouldn't have touched a sheep and seen the wool in its raw state. Like you have here, and and all of that sort of thing. Yeah. So anybody that wants to come and help tread down the wool at shearing time, they're more than welcome to do that. Yeah. Because as growers, we are looking after our animals, and every animal doesn't have a name, but they're all individual, and you manage sheep as individuals, and you're handling them a lot over their lifetime, and you're looking after them and shearing them, and you've got this wonderful product, and it's an individual thing.
Okay, so you take it from the 2 sides.
Yes.
To that.
Yep.
And then we go there.
And then hold on to those bits. Big flick. These sheep are bred to produce this soft, fine wool, which will get mostly used in lightweight woven fabrics. So it'll end up being processed and woven and weaved into a lightweight yarn, which will be fine wool suits.
And then how does it happen?
So this is what we call the board. So the sheep are in pens out the back. There's no sheep in here now. And the shearers will bring a sheep out to the front here, and then they have a handpiece, which is just a set of clippers, and shear the wool off each sheep. So it's a very individual, tactile job. Each sheep takes about 3 minutes or so, and then the shorn sheep's let go, and then the wool comes off there and onto the table.
Roderick O'Connor is another local farmer, managing a farm that has been in his family since the early 1800s. I wanted to know about the impact the wool growing process has on the animals themselves.
That's what we're after. Beautifully cinched, marked, lovely. You see how it's even?
Yeah.
So we've tried and keep the feed constant, all the
And when
broken.
when you shear them, who does the actual shearing?
Professional shearers, so they come in, this bit comes off, and this bit of wool here, and all the pizzle and the bits and the pieces come off. The best wool is here,
Right.
all the way along there, and then there's a back wool, so that has to all be separated.
And supposedly you have to do very carefully not to hurt the sheep.
With the shearing?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there are training classes and all sorts of things to prevent any injury or any cutting.
But there is another animal welfare impact that has tarnished the reputation of the wool industry, and that is mulesing. This practice of trimming folds of skin around the hindquarters of the sheep to prevent fly strike has put many wool producers at odds with consumers and some retailers.
If you're given time, alternatives will appear. The trouble is everybody wants an immediate answer or an immediate fix. They said, this has got to stop and it's all bad. But the industry just can't move that quickly. You have to breed traits into animals to eventually try and actually make sure that that area is probably tighter in the skin so you can actually naturally do it. But that could take 20 years. Or you can do it and then use pain relief and other drugs to make sure the animal's fine. If I see 4 or 5 animals out of the 12 or 14,000 that we either treat here, dead in a year, that's all I'd see from this process. But I could see hundreds or thousands if they were left untreated for fly strike in a bad year. So I think putting it in context, are there solutions? Yes, there are. I think the industry is doing something about that. Ideally, at the end of the day, would I like to stop mulesing? Yes, but it's going to take me a long time to get there.
But even the museling debate does not apply to all wool production here. Some of the herds in this landscape range over such a vast acreage that they're not prone to fly strike at all. So what is the environmental impact of sheep in large numbers across such a vast area? I spoke to Sebastian Burgess, who heads up the environmental initiative Greening Australia.
I think, Australia is so well known for growing wool, and some of the finest wool in the world comes from this landscape. But we're recognising that, people are part of the landscape. We need to have a balance between people in nature. The way I see all land and water management is people management. We've let things deteriorate across the world with pollution and climate change and so on. So we need to take some action to reverse that decline. One of our targets here for messaging is your threatened species.
And has the sheep farming compromised that, or do they live together happily?
They can live together. So what we're replicating in this landscape is an open grassy woodland where the native mammals, the birds, can coexist with a productive system. We can get good coexistence of native vegetation and sheep farming. We can hit a sustainable system where we can maintain a balance between productivity and good environmental outcomes.
But despite such sustainable progress, the livelihoods of wool producers are under threat, as wool loses market share to cheaper synthetic fibres. Confusingly, eco-claims are increasingly made on behalf of synthetics. I asked Dr. Beverly Henry, one of the world's leading experts on the ecological impact of wool, to help me understand some of these claims.
Wool is one of the most environmentally low impact fibres there are. That's because sheep are often produced on natural pastures. The landscape is virtually in its natural state in many cases. Whereas, with plant-based fibres, you have to plough up the land. You lose a lot of soil carbon. You don't have trees in the environment that sequester carbon and also help to turn over soil carbon and build it. Over the last 40 years, there's been a lot of research and a lot of investment in understanding how to produce wool more sustainably. And this is showing fruits in better production systems that don't damage the landscape. And that has really added to the efficiency and the sustainability of wool production, particularly here in Australia.
If you take the view that you don't own it and you're a custodian, it makes it a lot easier. Being a custodian gives you the freedom then to say, well, what should I do and what does your heart really tell you that you should do. It took me quite a few years to get that. I've always had that bent, but it probably wasn't until about 15 years ago I said, no, look, balancing production as the prime motive was just too hard. Droughts or floods or whatever other things came in by, and it'd take too long to recover, so there's got to be a better way. So we really isolated the place and said, okay, where can we grow our best production that the ground can sustain that and on a continuous basis or a rotational basis, and then what can't, let's work out what stock we should be putting there. So basically we halved our numbers, halved our livestock. My first thought was, if I do that, how am I going to make any money? Well, like most things, surprisingly, the animals were bigger, they grew more wool, so it wasn't as bad as we all thought. And that's just progressed further and further. So now we're looking at how we can continue to actually reduce numbers but get more production out of individual units. And you can only do that if you look after your land and if you look after the animal.
Do you think there is also a bit of a myth about wool that is perpetrated by the fact that the fast fashion industry wouldn't be able to survive on wool garments because it would be too expensive?
The growth in use of synthetics over the last 30 or 40 years has meant that the cheapness of them has meant that the number of garments produced has grown exponentially. But wool has a longer life, it's recycled more often. If you have fewer garments that last longer and of a higher quality, you do more for the sustainability of the whole fashion industry than sort of buying new garments every season, or several garments that you probably don't even wear, and then throwing them out.
When it comes to supply chains, there is not one solution to the growing ecological pressures we face across our world. There is no perfect fibre, no silver bullet. But what I found here in Tasmania are producers of fine wool who are not just taking a long-term view, but are deeply committed to landscape restoration and who see themselves as much as stewards of this natural habitat as producers. Above all, they're letting the planet set the limits.
Yeah, so everybody needs to wear, or most people need to wear clothing, so you've got to wear something. So the question is, what are you going to wear and how's it made? You know, we think wool as a fibre has got such a great story and it's such a great use of our landscape, and we can manage the landscape and all the values of the landscape whilst also earning a living here and producing a beautiful product.
Each time I explore stories from producers and how these precious fibres end up in my wardrobe, I'm inspired all over again to choose well and cherish every item that I buy.
Please join us in welcoming in conversation Creative Director of EcoAge and President of Omina's Advisory Committee, Livia Firth, and Lucy Siegel, author, journalist, and executive producer of the documentary The True Cost.
Oh, I've been upgraded. I was actually just a producer, I think. But hello, welcome to
executive producer.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay.
By the way, welcome everyone and happy World Ocean Day.
Oh,
it's
that's
today.
mine.
I hope you all Instagram or tweeted Happy World Ocean Day? And I brought this book that Lucy Siegel has written, and it's coming out in the summer. And talking about synthetic fibers, you have to read this book.
Right, thank you. We're going to talk about you. Stop talking about me and everyone else. We're going to talk about you. So we heard from Paul Hawken yesterday that Tasmania and Costa Rica were the only countries that he considered to be drawdown countries. And you have been to them both now.
Yes!
You obviously travel wherever you need to get these producer stories. Like, you want these stories where you said in that film, the environment, the planet is setting the limits. Why is it so important for you to go and see, go and witness, bear witness firsthand?
I think the first time that I that it dawned on me that there were people, and in this case animals, at the end of the supply chain. Was when I went to Bangladesh in 2008 with Lucy, and we went for a completely different reason, but we asked to get smuggled into a factory in Dhaka. And what we saw was pretty daunting. And it's the first time that I thought, oh my God, is this what's going on? Is this who produces our clothes? And I think over the years we've been divorced from that connection. So I couldn't do what I do without really meeting the people that talk about it. Sorry, I have to do.
That's it, directional.
Sorry. Without meeting the people that work at the supply chain, without really understanding the repercussions, because it's so complex, as he says in the film. And I remember we went to the Amazon a couple of years ago with Harriet to look at the leather supply chain. And and you went there before us, and meeting the rancheros and understanding their mentality when they chop the trees to get the cattle, moving across the land. Then you start understanding, okay, this is where the problem is, and then you meet the person who's trying to do something on the ground, and then you want to encourage them, and so you can't join the dots and put together all the links about the complexities, because one of the things that I hate most about sustainable fashion is that people have this urge, they think that it's all about perfection. So you are not a sustainable brand, or you're not an eco brand, unless it's perfect all the way to the end. And we were talking about it with Oscar today at lunch. And perfection is one of the big plagues of our time, and what a lot of brands has stopped them from making progress or trying to improve. And so these journeys, documenting the journeys, telling the stories, hopefully make people, myself, it's very important for myself, obviously, because I now know everything about sheep. But it's very important then for me to understand it and enabling other people to understand it with me.
And how optimistic are you? Because you mentioned the complexities in the supply chain. Fashion is a very complex product because it's full spectrum. As we know, it goes from the cotton fields all the way through. It also goes through oil refineries because we use so much synthetic fibers, as you reference. And we now know, and we'll be talking to Oscar about this tomorrow, that there is a plastic pandemic. You referenced World Ocean Day. We now know that synthetic fibers shed microfibers, and that every laundry cycle is producing potentially hundreds of thousands of these things. Do you feel that we have solutions and that we can develop our own drawdown plan for fashion?
Definitely. I think, first of all, I am optimistic, otherwise I would go to bed and just stop doing what we do. But also, I think I'm very optimistic because we switched the dial from ecological impact, from environmental impact to social justice impact. So we stopped talking about the footprint of fashion and started talking about the handprint of fashion. And if you look at all the stories that we heard yesterday and today about these incredible community projects and designers that are working with artisans and craft people across Latin America, but all over the world, then you say this is the future, it's the handprint of fashion. And that's the only story that you can tell. And referencing Claudia Donaldson, who gave that talk before the lunch break about the power of storytelling. You can't say it, you can't give a storytelling about a synthetic fiber unless it's this terrible one. So the more terrible stories we say about the impact, and we celebrate the beautiful story about the human hands that produce the clothes, fast fashion will die because they can't tell those stories, they can't. And we will go back to fashion how it is supposed to be, which is, an identity that we put on. And to references Oscar again, is a skin. You wear that skin, and you want to wear beautiful stories. You don't want to wear terrible stories.
Do you think that we are ready now to make a change? Because the reality of the situation, as we often talk about, is that 100 billion garments from virgin fibres are now being dumped on the world every year.
Yes, I mean, these stories are coming out today, and I think the conversation has really shifted, even in the last few months, because now, through social media, through becoming more aware, through, unfortunately, industrial accidents like the Rana Plaza collapse 4 years ago, people start to hear the stories and suddenly start to think about fashion again. And you know, we used to go in a shop and pick up something and just throw it on us without thinking. And I think today, you know, journalists that cover these stories, scientists like Paul Hawken talking about the environmental impact, consumers talking, exposing, you know, it's changing. It's massively changing.
We're going to talk in the next panel, because you're going to stay and join us, a little bit about how you work with designers and how designers approach sustainability. But overall, because you and I, we've been working this for a while.
We've been around the block a few times.
We're old girls. Do you think there has been a really big shift? And where do you think that is? Is it within consumers, communication, the industry itself?
I think it's about everything, because that's another thing that I think it kept us completely still for so many years, is that we always outsource the responsibility to someone else. So as individuals, or as they call us, consumers, we associate to government or to businesses. Businesses associate to government. It wasn't their fault. It was just, you know, there are no regulations. And instead, today, you know, whether it's because there is yet another report about the so-called millennials who are ready to spend more money for ethical products, which, you know, I'm not sure where all these millennials are, because so far the revolution is being carried out by middle-aged people like us. But
well, you might say that we caused the problem.
Well, not really, because when fast fashion was born, I was already in my 20s. So I was not part of the problem.
I was.
Well,
I'm reformed.
I know who to point the fingers at. But it's definitely changing, and each one. And there are businesses that are really leading the way. I mean, the fact that Gucci 3 days ago posted this huge platform called Gucci Equilibrium, and launched the first ever sustainability platform for such a big luxury company that is so comprehensive. It was really groundbreaking, and the industry is noticing it.
I mean, I could talk to Livia all day, and I frequently do,
it's
but I feel
true.
like we should give some other people the opportunity to ask questions. Does anybody have a really great question? Oh, okay, that is pressure. Shall I bring you my microphone? No. Oh, you've got your own mic. It's got to be a really good question.
Hi, and thank you both for the amazing job you have been doing for so long. I would like to know your opinion about the automation, the robotics, you know, because watching all the amazing stories yesterday about social innovation, I'm really worried about what is coming, because it's coming. Already there are many factories producing with robotics. So I would like to know your opinion about it.
Great question. Yes, automation, it's coming.
Well, we contributed with EcoAge to a roundtable with the World Economic Forum 2 years ago about the fourth industrial revolution and automation. And we were the only voice around the roundtable to warn about what's going to happen to all the people. And usually, you know, in the industrial revolution, and every revolution, people have always been an afterthought. And today we know what is going to be, what artificial intelligence, what is the impact is going to be. We have a lot of information. And it seems, to me, I'm not positive at all in that respect, because it seems like they are completely discarding the human factor. But then at the same time, with Lucy, we saw that article in, was it the Washington Post? What was it? That it was a documentary, actually, that talked about how the fact that labor is so cheap in the developing countries that actually it would be so expensive to it's much cheaper and for them more sustainable to keep a model of slave labor, because, you know, is much cheaper. So the question is a little bit open.
Can I add something? Because I think that one of the things, because Omina is all about solutions, right? So I think one of the things that we could do, so Livia said, EcoAge were the only people who were standing up and saying, let's look at this from a different point of view. I think those of us who work particularly with artisans in production on maybe more traditional fibers, we need to keep data and use metrics to show specifically how important that is for livelihoods. And I think we together need to make a really, really strong case, because we know some of the data. So, for example, the looms in Bangladesh, the hand looms, I can't remember the statistics because I'm rubbish at remembering numbers, but from a carbon point of view, we know there's a huge saving, and we know, there's been projects where we've put women on the hand looms. They weren't allowed before, but through fashion projects, we have given them those opportunities, and the potential to have a decent livelihood from those kind of skills is huge. And as the population, the global population expands, these are critical arguments. So thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. Any more questions? Yes? This row is very good.
Yahala? Sí. Hi, so what do you recommend to people that want to make a positive impact but can only afford fast fashion, which unfortunately I think is the majority of the people in the world?
My question to that is, I am 49. This year I'll turn 49. So,
oh, you don't look it.
Yeah. When I grew up, fast fashion didn't exist. You couldn't buy cheap clothes. You couldn't. So how do you think, so two questions back at you, how do you think I went to parties, to school, to the office when I started working? How did I do it? And the second question is, do you think that Mr. Persian, the owner of H&M, and Mr. Ortega, the owner of Zara, are on the 10th richest man in the world because poor people can't afford to buy clothes?
So I have a similar but different view. So I think that certainly in the UK, we are being sold the idea. We're on the slide to a low-wage economy because we have such a disparity between rich and poor. I don't know if you saw that amazing presentation by Catherine Trebeck yesterday about how the G7 needs to go, but I'm really enthused by that presentation. But the inequality between rich and poor, and who capitalizes on that? It is this business model, this low-wage, volume fashion business model, which tells us this is all you can afford. And we basically end up all on the same trajectory, which is downwards. And I talk to a lot of younger people about value and what they understand by value. And increasingly, I'm having them come to me and say, this might only be $10 or $5 for a dress, but actually, that's still $5. I'm going to put it into my education, I'm going to put it into my account, because I know this product is not of value because I can only wear it once. It's not quality, it's synthetic fiber, blah, blah, blah. So I think the whole kind of myth around affordability, which these brands have made work in their own image, of the image of their flawed business model, I think is starting to be questioned by the very people who they rely on, which is an interesting situation. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's interesting.
Lucy and I laughed with Andrew Morgan, the director, who directed this short movie, but also directed The True Cost, and this is how we met. And recently there was an article on Bloomberg saying that because H&M profit and fast fashion profit in general, they're really declining. And there was the curve of the profit of H&M. And in 2014, it starts to go down. And our reaction was, 2014 is the year we released The True Cost. So I think once you understand the impact of, we're buying so much crap.
And the other thing that we have to take a view on as environmentalists, whatever your price point, whatever your age, whatever demographic, whatever fashion you like buying, is that the true cost, which was the whole point of the movie, is not being paid by anybody. So the environment picks up the tab. The people who are not being paid living wage, which, by the way, is a fundamental human right established in law, they picking up the cost. So it's an unsustainable situation, full stop. I think we better do one more question, and then should we move on to the panel?
Yeah, we still have 8 minutes if you want to talk more.
Oh, we do? Oh, I didn't even realize. This is how
But
tired I am. I didn't even see there's a massive...
We could go to the panel, because I want, you know, it's so important to hear the stories of the designers that are going to be on the panel.
Yeah, we're excited to hear those. So is there a final question? Oh, from the row again. Well, this is the row to beat. Do we have the microphone to this lady, please? Thank you.
Thank you. So yesterday, Professor Catherine was sharing with us that the richest population or the richest people in the world are the ones responsible for the majority of the pollution and the CO2 emissions. So what about getting that critical mass, moving into this boat and coming in here with us? How much progress have we made on that end?
Funny you say that, because when I saw that champagne glass, I thought this is exactly why we at EcoAge in particular work with luxury companies, because they hold the power and they're talking to an audience who has that power. And they have so much more money to invest in research and development, in new, you know, supply chain innovation, in so many different things, in paying the workers a proper wage, etc. So once again, I don't want to, you know, flagging Gucci all the time, but the whole Kering group, you know, all the Kering brands that have been doing so much work about it. So they is a very powerful demographic to tackle, to activate change.
Right now with them,
I think they're all waking up, and they're all taking notice, and they know that they have to change. And recently, you know, we were in New York talking to some big brands there, and who would have never ever thought about sustainability, and they're all freaking out because they know that the consumer wants it, they know that the storytelling narrative is changing, and they have to start doing it. So it is changing.
And there's also the imperative of fiber. So cotton, for example, cotton will tell you that there's a drought. Cotton will tell you that the climate is changing because it won't grow without a lot of water. So the environmental imperatives, again, are becoming so strong. And I've heard a few people reference planetary boundaries. Somebody before referenced the Stockholm Resilience Institute. And we now have 30 years of earth science. We understand that we are going into feedback loops, which are incredibly dangerous. And the brands that are engaging with the science, like Kering, which has used planetary boundary science to create the EPNL, the Environmental Profit and Loss Account, is extraordinary. Like, if you'd have asked me 10 years ago if a major brand was going to be accounting for the environmental debt of its products, I would have thought you were crazy. But that is actually now happening because it has to. We have to go back to your film, we have to let the planet set the limits. Otherwise, we don't have any resources to use. So the imperatives, it couldn't be stronger, really, could it? Okay, so in a seamless transition, oh, I'm so sorry.
There is another question.
We ignored you over there. You have a question. We'll get you a microphone.
One quick question. How does a smaller brand take the initiative of being sustainable? Because we hear sustainability, the word, every day, and I talk about it with my brand. But from you, what do you think is the most important issue to address first for the smaller brands that may not have access or understand exactly what that means?
Where are you based?
New York City.
And what's your brand called?
FIGUE, F-I-G-U-E.
And what do you do? What is it?
Luxury,
you wearing it?
Luxury, bohemian, global gypsy.
They're amazing.
Is this it? It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want.
I have to.
They want to see what she's. Will it embarrass you to come out here?
Here.
Sorry.
Because
everybody wants.
They are the most incredible clothes. Look at this. so beautiful. Well, for me, two answers. One is politically very incorrect, and you haven't heard it here. But so the first one is, for a smaller brand, it's actually much easier because you probably are totally in control of your supply chain. So you know your suppliers, hopefully. You have visited them, hopefully. You talk to them. So you are much more in control, and that is sustainability as well. That is how you become sustainable. And the second thing is, it's almost like, you know, we wouldn't be here today to talk about sustainable fashion if fast fashion didn't exist. We would have never, 20 years ago, there would have never been a conference about sustainable fashion, a book about sustainable fashion. Lucy would have never written a book. Like, we wouldn't have this huge problem. So for me personally, and this is the politically incorrect thing that I should never say, smaller brands that work with very tight supply chain, that create incredibly quality product that you keep for the rest of your life, are not the problem. They're automatically sustainable because you don't buy something from Fig Love and you throw it away after a year. You keep it for the rest of your life. No, but it's true. You know, it's true. Now, you know, so that is not the problem, and that is my personal view. I don't know if Lucy completely disagree.
Well, what do you think is, when you talk about like what to prioritize, are you talking about from a communications perspective? Because there's a lot of noise. Is it about getting your story?
There is a lot of noise, and people ask me all the time, and my team and my group, my small group, what does that mean? I think we are sustainable because we care and we're conscious, but how does it, where do we start, you know, communicating, with what words, with what initiative?
Can you use your microphone, please?
You talk about the handprint of fashion and talking about the people in your supply chain who makes, you know, your clothes, where do you dye the fabric, and, you know, and you were telling me last night it's from India, and I'm sure there is a wonderful project behind it, and, you know, you work with women probably. So who are these women, and creating that content and the story that talks about the product.
I also wouldn't, personally, I don't get too hung up about using the word sustainability because it's used so much. A lot of people don't like it and nobody really knows what it means. I think that there is a writer, a kind of futurist called Alex Steffen, who I follow on Twitter. I love him.
He's an astronaut, isn't he?
Is he an astronaut?
Yes.
Are you joking?
He's an astronaut. No, I met him.
What?
I think he's an astronaut.
Okay. He's a blooming astronaut. That's amazing. Okay. Well, he's very smart, so he could be an astronaut. But he talks...
I'm not sure if he's...
Okay. We don't know if he's an astronaut. But he... Anyway, the point is, he says that sustainability is actually... What are we doing? We're preparing people for the future. We're now accelerating quicker than ever before. So all we're doing is getting people ready for the future. And I think, like, dressing people for a future where every fiber is really precious and every garment is really precious is one of the strongest things that fashion can contribute. So call yourself a futurist, whatever. Yeah, you like it? Good, we've solved a problem. There we are. Okay, we're not even going to use that minute because we're going to start the changeover now. Livia's going to stay with us, and we're going to bring on some more panelists.
We need chairs.
Yeah, don't worry, they've got it sorted. They know what they're doing.
It's time to continue with Lucy Siegel as moderator of the panel Designing for Sustainability, sponsored by BMW i3.
Thank you, BMW. I didn't know I was sponsored by BMW, but there we are. Okay. This is a seamless transition. You won't even know it's happening. Okay, what we're going to do is, in a moment, I'm going to introduce our panelists for this next section where we're talking about designing for sustainability. And we're going to hear from each of them a short presentation where they're going to give you some insight into how they work with designers and what they do. And indeed, some of them are designers. And again, I would love, thank you. I hope I'm not responsible for this. And then again, I would love some questions. Let's get a discussion going because this is an amazing resource of brains we're going to bring up here now. Not just us. Definitely not us. Okay. Can I introduce my panelists? Okay. So I'm going to call you up one at a time. No, I'm not. I'm going to call you all up, and then we will we'll do the presentations. Okay. Introducing Adriana Cachay from Aini, Peru-based knitwear brand, working with local artisans. Oscar Ruiz. Oscar Ruiz, sorry. Obra Gris is a Costa Rican fashion brand, and it's zero waste. Bia Saldana from Veja Fair Trade. Jag Gill from Sundar, a digital sourcing platform. And Maria Busquet, whose brand Cashmerino is redefining children's wear. Come on up, guys. Come on up. Big round of applause for our panelists. You're all very welcome. It's great to see you. We're going to start with Adriana. Okay, I'm going to pass you my microphone.
Hola, mi nombre es Adriana Cachay, represento a Perú y vengo a compartir una historia, es una historia de amor, yo le diría. Tiene muchos componentes y lamentablemente mi socia está en descanso de maternidad, acaba de tener su bebé, entonces hemos hecho un video para resumir un poco nuestra historia. I'm sorry, I'm going to do it in Spanish, but I'm going to share the story about Aini. It's a love story, and we prepare a video for you guys so you can get the whole story. It's about 12 years of work, so it's a lot to tell.
Aini en quechua significa hoy por ti, mañana por mí. Aini nació en las alturas del sur del Perú, en la isla de Mantanilla en Puno. Aini es una marca de lujo contemporánea con un concepto de sostenibilidad y responsabilidad social. Aini representa una filosofía de reciprocidad y beneficio mutuo y fue creado de nuestro deseo de contribuir a un desarrollo sostenible en la industria nacional. A través de los diferentes programas del Ministerio de Trabajo, tales como Vamos Perú y Fondo Empleo, tenemos proyecciones de certificar a más de 10.000 artesanos de las diferentes regiones del Perú, de los cuales al día de hoy ya hemos certificado a más de 2.000 beneficiarios.
En nuestro trabajo con los artesanos peruanos, nos dimos cuenta de la gran necesidad de normalizar y estandarizar los procesos del tejido a mano. El objetivo principal de las certificaciones de competencias laborales es generar oportunidades de trabajo, proteger la herencia cultural y promover las técnicas ancestrales del Perú. A través de nuestro centro certificador, Aini puede asegurar a nuestros clientes que trabajamos con mano de obra calificada.
Yo soy especialista en la técnica de palito y en la técnica de crochet. Yo laboro hace 15 años atrás. Como líder, 10 años. Con 25 señoras trabajamos y es un grupo bien unido, de Villa María del Triunfo. Bueno, para mí lo más importante es que he aprendido bastante acá en la empresa y sobre todo nos han dado un certificado que nosotros tenemos, no solamente yo, bueno, como líder fui primera, pero también nos dieron a todas las tejedoras y tenemos ese respaldo bastante de la empresa, porque eso es algo de, como se dice, una tradición de acá del Perú, ¿no? Acá en el Perú no se puede perder esa tradición, es un arte, claro, es un arte ancestral que con nosotras como peruanas lo llevamos dentro, ¿no? Siempre tenemos ese don de querer tejer, de querer hacerlo y no se puede perder eso. Empezamos a veces en la casa con nuestros hijos y poco a poco, ¿no? ya nos da ya lo agarramos como un trabajo. Eso es algo que muy importante para todas las señoras. Para mí la certificación es un reconocimiento muy importante y motivador para poder seguir adelante con este trabajo, no solamente para mí, sino también para las señoras, porque ellas también han sido reconocidas como tejedoras a mano. Bueno, en el lado laboral, yo cuando empecé a tejer, nunca pensé tejer así para una empresa para exportación. Lo vi mucho más, no sé, más importante. Dije, de repente acá es mi trabajo, ¿no? Y de verdad, yo nunca me canso ni me aburro. Eso es algo que no creo que sea imposible, ¿no? Esa tradición es tan antigua, ¿no? Que nosotros no debemos de perder eso. Es un arte que nosotras las mujeres y hasta varones conocen, y encima recibimos un sueldo por eso. Entonces yo pienso que eso nunca se debe de perder. Siempre debemos de seguir enseñando a más personas para que ellos continúen siempre con esta labor de tejido a mano.
Hola, yo me llamo Marcela Perea Tapia. Soy una señora con 55 años. Soy artesana de tejido a mano. Soy jefa de grupo y líder de 30 señoras que viven en mi distrito. Como tejedora, 25 años. Como líder, 18 años. Me dieron la facilidad también de poder demostrar lo mucho que yo sabía en los años de experiencia que tuve, y pude trabajar con la asistencia de las diseñadoras. Lo más importante para mí es la amabilidad, el buen trato y, por supuesto, la seriedad que tienen en los pagos. Es un reconocimiento a nuestra labor y experiencia, a lo cual nos motiva a seguir adelante. Poder capacitar a nuevas generaciones de mujeres tejedoras.
La presentación, esto va a estar en inglés y lo voy a explicar en español. So, it's okay. Todo nació con el sueño de poder empoderar a las mujeres, no solamente profesionalmente, sino también personalmente y económicamente. Nosotros tratamos de darles las herramientas para que ellas puedan crear oportunidades laborales con sueldos justos perdón, y dignos. Creo que no está funcionando. No, the next page. Oh, okay. Creo que se dio mucho. ¿Cómo lo logramos? A través de 3 etapas. Primero, la capacitación y la certificación. El segundo es empoderándolas. Y el tercero es protegiendo tradiciones textiles peruanas. Es muy importante para nosotros que las mujeres con las que trabajamos, las artesanas con las que venimos trabajando más de 10 años, sean capacitadas y certificadas. En el 2012 creamos el Centro Certificador de Tejido a Mano en colaboración con el Ministerio de Trabajo. Fue un proceso que demoró más o menos 16 meses, en donde se creó y se estandarizó el perfil ocupacional de tejido a mano. ¿Y por qué era tan importante para nosotros? Porque nos dimos cuenta de que esta tradición textil se iba perdiendo conforme pasaban los años. Y por eso decidimos que era muy importante crear este certificado para generar un reconocimiento y una motivación en las mujeres. Luego, a través de este trabajo de capacitación y certificación, buscamos que las mujeres se empoderen, creen mejores oportunidades laborales, y también vemos que genera una independencia económica. el 80% de las mujeres que trabajaban con nosotros son madres de familia, líderes de su familia, y eso significa que tienen que crear sus propios ingresos económicos, y es por eso tan importante el empoderarlas y hacer que ellas puedan educar a su familia y generar trabajo a través de los años a todos sus grupos de mujeres. La protección de herencia cultural es el tercer punto, pero no es el menos importante para nosotros. A través de nuestras colecciones tratamos de promover y sentirnos orgullosos de nuestras raíces y nuestras tradiciones. En nuestro trabajo actual, a través de nuestra certificadora AINI Certified, venimos certificando más o menos hasta ahora 2,000 mujeres artesanas, y tenemos la proyección de certificar hasta 10,000 mujeres. Ya las tenemos mapeadas. En el mundo de la industria de la moda emplea 75 millones de personas, de las cuales en el Perú representa el 2.8 millones. Y de este total, el 75% son mujeres. Solamente para que se den un poco de idea acerca de lo que sucede en el Perú, tenemos 31 millones de habitantes, de los cuales el 21.8 vive en pobreza y el 4.3 en pobreza extrema. De esta población, el 61.5% solamente llega al nivel de educación secundaria, y el 9.6% son mujeres analfabetas, o son personas analfabetas, perdón. Y el 80.9% de las mujeres que trabajan pertenecen al sector textil y de agricultura. El sector textil es el cuarto sector más importante en el Perú. No dicen los números.
Sorry? Yeah, if you just want to finish, and then we can talk about some of the other stuff, but we have to do it quickly. Sorry, we're running out of time.
Ya pasé el certificado que brindamos a las tejedoras. Se basa en dos exámenes, en el examen de conocimiento y el de desempleo. Brindamos certificaciones en 4 unidades, en palito, crochet, macramé y control de calidad. El último está enfocado en las líderes. Estas son algunas fotos de los procesos de certificaciones que se realizan junto con el Ministerio de Trabajo, y este es un ejemplo del certificado que se ha brindado hasta ahora. Son más de 2,000, son 2,000 certificados que hemos brindado hasta el momento. Bueno, vamos a concluir esto. En el 2018, el gobierno peruano brinda 2 premios a empresas que generan un alto impacto, y este año, en el 2018, AINI ganó el concurso de empresas de alto impacto, el cual nos va a permitir poder generar esa visibilidad y conciencia que nos gustaría poder transmitir a través de nuestro trabajo. Nuestros partners estratégicos son PROMPERÚ, Marca País, las oficinas comerciales, básicamente el gobierno peruano, y la Cámara de Comercio de Lima también. Y en este último punto me gustaría también añadir que me gustaría también decir que veo como partners a mis compañeros de Latinoamérica. Me siento privilegiada de participar el día de hoy. Quiero agradecer a Andrea y a Carmen por esta iniciativa, y sobre todo porque me ha gustado mucho descubrir a tanto talento latinoamericano, sobre todo nuestros vecinos venezolanos, que se escucha cosas muy duras acerca de su realidad, y poder descubrir a todos, o ya conocía mucho de ellos el día de hoy, y tienen historias extraordinarias luchando desde su país, y me gustaría poder aprender mucho más de ellos. Son un ejemplo para nosotros, y ese es el último partner que me gustaría agregar el día de hoy. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Adriana. I'm sorry, 10 minutes is not long enough to explain 20 years' work. Okay, Oscar, we are coming to you next, if that's okay. Oscar Ruiz is going to talk to us. 10 minutes maximum. The clock's over there, and this gentleman holds up and waves a sign when you've got 1 minute. Okay. Here we go.
No, it's a video. Yeah, no. First of all, I think my visuals probably won't match what I'm seeing because I had written out something else at the beginning, but then I've kind of edited it. So, hola, my name is Oscar Ruiz. I'm creative director at Obra Gris. I started out, I grew up in Guanacaste, in the city of Liberia, really close to the beach. Growing up, my mom would make her own clothes, make ceramics. She would make stained glass, and she'd have paint furniture, and so there were always her projects lying around the house. There was a drawer full of my grandmother's Burda magazines, and she also had a bunch of Macau's patterns that you could order before, so you could make your own clothes, which was really important for family and domestic economy. And I think this influenced me in my interests. I went to art school and took up graphic design, photography, and ceramics. Later on, through an internship in New York, I stumbled into fashion unintentionally and found out that I really liked it, but I liked more thinking about the object rather than the imaging behind it. And so I decided to do a master's in fashion in Berlin. During that time, we had a visit from the university was really interested in collaborative design and sustainability, and we had a visit of over a week, a 10-day course with Rebecca Early from TED Research. And they brought into us a lot of information regarding sustainability and personal stories, developing these personal stories and how these would impact our process, our beliefs, and have our product really become part of ourselves and derive from ourselves and our view of the world. And going back to where I grew up and seeing my mom always making her clothes and thinking about nature, a lot of what this information from Rebecca really resonated, and I started thinking about how from Costa Rica I could develop a project that could sustain and dress people, and where I could pour my ideas in an ecological and sustainable way. And so one of the things that resonated to me was zero waste design. To throw in some more alarming figures, there are 400 billion square meters that are produced each year that are cut. 15% of this material goes into waste and goes into landfill. This means 60 billion square meters, about the size of California. And that to me was really alarming. This happens at the cutting table, so it is a design flaw, as all systematic ecological problems are. They're design flaws. So it was my mission at that moment to investigate first and foremost, and I came into zero waste through knowledge being shared by an open source community, which I found that was really important, and I wrote my thesis on it, and later on started developing and incorporating this into my design language and discourse. So I found out that the open source community was open and willing to share their knowledge, and found inspiration from people like Timo Ristinen and Holly McQuillan, who've been researching zero waste for years now, and they've written a book. I realized that I came through their emails and started writing and exchanging communication with them, and then they became pen pals, as did other people who've then become, they were tutors and readers of my thesis. And I believe that sharing knowledge is one of the things that's gonna help us change what we're doing. Looking at zero waste, or maybe to talk about it a little bit more, the challenge is to use the whole surface of the fabric in creating a garment. Everything that is cut from it is used to become parts and portions of it. So here, as you're seeing in the image before, or in this image now, every portion that's cut is used to turn, to produce these pants that can be worn and styled in different ways and fit multiple sizes. Maybe I'll look at my notes a little bit. So the idea is to have one size that fits many and to vary proportions only when needed. And I think that changing the role of the pattern cutter and the designer is key. And this is something that goes back to schools, information. Usually the role of the pattern cutting process is led by someone, a technician, and I think it's really important to shift the idea that the pattern cutter is a secondary person in the team. In my team, everybody gets to put their input and influences the final product. And changing this and this sort of a idea of the genius and the ego of the person that's creating everything, for me is one of the main things that has to change. My team is sitting here today. I'm very lucky to have them. My mentor, Gabriela Valenzuela Hirsch, with whom we've begun doing upcycling as part of our process, turning debris, fashion debris, that normally would go also into landfill, is one of the things that we're researching now. Barbara Cuevas, who's the textile designer who turns debris into magic, and my business partner and brand manager, Irene, is also here with us today. So I think collaboration really is key to what we're trying to make, and some of the challenges from working out of Costa Rica is coming into materials that are sustainable, organic, certified, if ever, and that meet the minimums of the size of our current operation. And it is our pursuit to convey significance in the garments that we create. These garments serve specific purposes in the lives of the people who purchase them. We've also try to address an education in a way regarding our customers and how we treat them. They really become co-creators in a way, because a lot of the people that are coming into the studio to have pieces made, customized and special for them, also get to pour their input. We do tailoring also for them, so everything that they take home is something that they really, really want. They're probably never going to throw away, hopefully inherit, and keep in their closets for a long time, and then the pieces also become part of their story. So I think we're trying to achieve a bigger purpose than just make clothes. It's items that really have relevance in people's lives, and hopefully these lives will be rendered and have a special purpose for everybody that's going to wear them. So.
Okay, Team Oscar, just wave again so everybody knows where you're sitting. They're in the illustrious third row. Yes. Well done, everybody. Thank you for that. Did you say 16 billion square meters or 60? 16 billion square meters in wasted fabric from the cutting process. Wow. About the size of California. Okay, that's a stat I'm going to remember. Okay, next up we have the wonderful Bia Saldana from Veja, who produces wild tap rubber for Veja. I've known Bia for a long time, and I see her very infrequently, but I just feel so calm when I sit next to you. It's amazing. Anyway, over to you, Bia.
Thank you, Lucy, Livia. I'm very happy to be here. When I knew about Omina, I contacted Livia and Lucy to say, I want to go. Because Costa Rica is very, in terms of public policies, is very close to the state of Acre, where I live in the Amazon. And we have a video. Is it possible to come with? No?
Oh, that's disappointing.
Okay, no problem. Let's go with the presentation.
Explain anyway.
No, it's a video about the Veja production process, but my presentation is this one. It's here. And so I'm happy to be in Costa Rica, and congratulations. You have a great country in terms of forestry and all you have been doing with your environmental is wonderful. So, Veja is a French company. Is it? Okay. Veja is a French company who's worked with, it was born in 2005 to produce sneakers as sustainable as possible. Oh my God.
Don't panic, it's fine.
Yes. Não, tá bom. Acho que eu prefiro porque... So with transparency, traceability, economic ecology, and social chain. So these are Sebastian and Gila. Yes, I'm better here. May I? Yes, thank you. These are Guilain and Sebastian, the founders of Veja. They are friends since they were 14, and they studied business together. And the idea to create Veja was to really do something that they loved to do together. And they loved sneakers, and they tried to make this company as your friendship. Well, we do it in the whole production chain is in Brazil. The product is made in Brazil. We use wild rubber from the Amazon rainforest, organic cotton from the northwest of Brazil, and the sneakers are made in the south of Brazil, which is a place that it's very focused on shoes production. It's a huge industry there in the south of Brazil. And yes, and I want to focus in the Amazon today. I'm sad because yes, we have the video. I think it's better because you will know a little, you will know better about the company, and after we will talk about Amazonia, where I live.
Hola, soy Isabel Primo Tejada.
Okay, go ahead. And yes. And yes, the organic, ecological, fair trade. We paid much better than the regular price in the market for the cotton. And yes, wild and fair trade rubber. Amazonian rubber, it's what I do with the rubber tappers there. So I would like to talk about a little more about me and my work. And I work with Veja. I've been working with Veja for 11 years. But it was not my beginning. I began a little bit earlier. Oh my God. Yes. This is me 33 years ago when we founded the Green Party in Brazil. I was part of the group that founded the Green Party in Brazil. At that time in 1985, nobody knew about ecology and environmentalism. And my inspiration was Anita Roddick and Greenpeace people. And Anita Roddick, because of her trade not aid slogan that was really important for me to understand. And, oh my God, great, thank you.
We started Veja 10 years ago in Brazil. The purpose is to make a different sneaker, which would be well made, with a positive impact at every step of the economic chain. The design studio is located in Paris, with a crew of creative people. But the inspiration is everywhere. It depends on our mood, it depends on what we want to wear, it depends on the people we meet. We love classics, raw design, military clothing. We love sneakers that you can wear your whole life, that are beyond fashion. A cool design stays forever. Brazil is the only country where there is organic and fair trade cotton. It's the only country where there is wild rubber into the Amazon forest that we put on our soles. We source the raw materials directly. We buy them ourselves to make sure everything is traced. This is the consistency of Veja, to try to know everything. Veja is a sneaker brand with 2 feet. We have one foot into the ecological world and the other foot into the high-end fashion world. And we love to mix both worlds into one project. A pair of sneakers is a very symbolic product for our generation, worn by people at every moment of their lives. And this is what we like about it. It touches everybody. Since the beginning, Veja is all about love and pleasure. We set up projects that we feel good about. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But when you like the things you do, you have a better chance. We only collaborate with people we like, we admire. It is a question of taking pleasure in what we do every day.
Was in 1992 in the Earth Summit in Rio, when we began, I think it's, may I have, no. Yes, agora. No. I'm sorry. Yes, because I was trying to show you Chico Mendes' picture, because at that time, when we founded the Green Party in Brazil, I met Chico Mendes. It's a hero from Brazil who was assassinated because he was fighting to save the Amazon. And at that point, I realized that I could not do nothing from Ipanema. It was my conclusion after he was assassinated. And so I moved to the Amazon, and I created this line of products made with a kind of a vegetal leather. It's a rubberized fabric. And we use it to produce bags. This was the first line launched in 1992 in Rio. And this material, this rubberized sheets was used by Osklin and also by Hermes for 6 years. And we produced until 2005, we were working with this material. And for many reasons, this is this slide picture I was searching. This is Chico Mendes, and it was because of him that I came to the Amazon. I went to the Amazon. And this is tree tap in the origin. And this is when we received an award in 2002 in Earth Summit again. And I met these incredible guys in 2007, and I began to collaborate with Veja. And I'm very honored to be part of this project. We are very close to Peru, in the state of Acre. It's in the heart of the Brazilian Amazon. This is closer. These red spots are our production areas there in Acre. Nowadays, we involve around 200 people, producers, that live in this forest. This is a Google map picture, and you can see how they are living in. I'm sorry, we're out. Yes, I'm finished. This is the area where they live, and the people, and this is the message. We would like to win with Dimas. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bea. I'm so sorry we don't have a lot of time, and there was so much problems with the VT. You did so well. You did so well. Okay, next up we have Jag Gill, who's going to tell us about her unbelievably fascinating startup and her tech brain, and we're going to get a very different perspective. Absolutely. Okay, over to you. Would you like this clicker?
No, because I have a video.
Yeah,
it's
you don't
good.
need this. This is old
it's
technology for
be
you.
Quick. Thank you so much to Andrea and to Carmen for bringing together so many change makers and innovators. It is so exciting to be here. My name is Jag. I am the CEO and founder of Sundar. And at Sundar, we are digitizing the supply chain of fashion so that it becomes more efficient, more responsive, more modern, and sustainable. So in the past few days, it's been fascinating because we've learned about technologies and innovation that is helping us as consumers, right? So we can go online, we can rent fashion, we can buy fashion, we can swap fashion. So the dress that I'm wearing, it takes a minute to go onto an e-commerce site and purchase that dress, right? But it takes a year for this dress to go from a sketch, an idea for a designer, to a finished product. And 75% of that time, that's 7 months, is spent in the sourcing of the raw materials. So imagine the textiles, the trim, the accessories, the component, the manufacturers, and the suppliers. And that's fascinating because we have a digital customer and we have a very offline and opaque supply chain. And so as entrepreneurs, that is a fascinating problem to solve. You know, the supply chain has not changed for the past 20, 30 years. The way that fashion is created is still very analog and pen and paper and antiquated. And so I'm going to share with you today a little bit about what we're doing at Sundar. There's going to be a video in a few moments, why we're doing it, and how we're driving sustainability in the supply chain. So can we cue the video? Thank you. The fashion industry is at a tipping point. We need to work at lightning speed in order to meet the demands of the international markets and customers. Hi, my name is Jag Gill. I'm the CEO and founder of Sundar. And Sundar is a Sanskrit word meaning beautiful. The fashion supply chain is broken. The sourcing process is old school, it's offline, it's opaque. And this is preventing the agility and the creativity of the industry. Sundar is born out of the industry need for faster speed to market, the daily demand for new product, and the requirement for more flexible sourcing relationships. At Sundar, we're building the world's largest curated platform connecting fashion brands with manufacturers and suppliers of textiles, trims, accessories, and components. We enable in minutes what used to take weeks and months to accomplish. Search, discover, and request samples instantly. From global manufacturers to local artisans, Sundar is transforming the fashion supply chain by fusing technology with sourcing and delivering tools and resources that realize creativity, enhance productivity, and build profitability. Sundar. Discover, source, create. So over the past couple of years, we have built a thriving digital community. Okay, so we tell stories about our suppliers. We have small artisans. There's a company called Cocoon that works out of India, just outside of Mumbai, and they are a small artisan that has developed an amazing innovation in how they manufacture silk. They've developed a non-violent process where the silkworm stays alive at the end of the process. And we also have big manufacturers and suppliers because they want to digitize and be innovative. And so we have a thriving community of hundreds of suppliers from India, Italy, from great markets, and hundreds of brands and retailers. And we work with startups too because we want to help startups access global supply, right? Designers, smaller designers and brands. And we also work with large brands and retailers. And so this is where the important point about sustainability comes in. During our learning, working with large brands and retailers, we learned that they are incredibly complex organizations. So a large retailer, call it a fast fashion retailer, has a design team, a creative team, a team that sources textiles, they design the textiles, a team that makes the garments, a team that does the compliance and the vetting of the supplier, a team that goes and audits the factories. And all these teams are incredibly siloed, okay? And it's fascinating that it's so complex and yet they don't communicate internally. So several weeks ago, I was in Copenhagen and I was with the head of sourcing for PVH, and he made a very powerful statement, and this is what we're all about at Sundar. He said that sustainability is not the responsibility of the compliance team. It's not the responsibility of the corporate social responsibility team. It's the responsibility of the entire organization, right from the bottom, from the creative process, the designer, all the way through to the management. And that is the behavior change that we are creating at Sundar. And I think that we're very unique in doing that. So our innovation, our theory of change, is that we've developed a process where a designer, somebody sitting in their studio in New York, okay? They don't go to the factory. They don't meet the workers. They don't know anything about sustainability and compliance. They don't know who the SAC is or who the Social and Labor Convergence Project is. They are looking for fabrics and materials. They go onto our system. They can do a search for a fabric. They can pull out beautiful textures and fabrications. They get supplier information in real time at their fingertips. And what we've developed is an algorithm, because I went to MIT, so we build algorithms. We've developed a tool where they can access in real time assessments about a supplier's sustainability, right? So is this supplier making moves towards social, labor, and environmental compliance? And the way that we do this is that, first of all, we've developed an amazing consulting group. So we were part of the Fashion for Good program. Our informal advisors and consultants include Caring and the CNA Foundation, and our investors include Pierre Omidyar, who's the founder of eBay, and Pierre has become an amazing philanthropist and works in the supply chain because he knows that the fashion supply chain is full of issues and problems, and we must turn this around. And so we've developed a tool, an assessment tool, where a buyer can go online, they can choose a fabric, and then we pull together information. So we pull together information assessing the country risk, because different countries have different risk. And it's not just Bangladesh and India that have risk. Even Italy has risk in its supply chain. So we pull together that data. We pull together information about how this supplier is working with NGOs and nonprofits and agencies like the Sustainable Apparel Coalition, the Social Labor Convergence Project, the ILO, the Better Cotton Initiative. So we reward them points for having these initiatives. We then pass out what brands and retailers this supplier is working with. Because if this supplier is working with Patagonia, we know that they are taking major steps towards being sustainable. And that's really key to reward those suppliers that are improving their policies and their processes. And then finally, we look at the material that is being sourced, because we know that different fabrics and materials have different risks. For example, leather is a very difficult product to create and make sustainably. And then what we do is we pull that information together and we give the designer a real-time assessment of that supplier. And so you can imagine that suppliers that are improving their social compliance, their environmental compliance, that are getting a good score on our system, are going to be rewarded with more business. And this is amazing because it is impacting workers' lives, okay? A designer can sit in their studio, select a supplier, reward that supplier with business, and then the workers at that factory are getting a fair wage, okay? They're getting to work in a factory that has safe labor conditions. Their children are being educated. Women are being empowered. And so our theory of change is that we must empower the designer, especially at these large retail organizations. So we know that, $400 billion of apparel is sold in the United States every year. 98% of that is sourced overseas. And right now, the major market share is with big retailers and fast fashion. And there are amazing startups here that are creating change from the bottom up. But our thesis is that we need to empower designers at large retailers and brands, even fast fashion brands, to make change in their daily processes and select sustainable suppliers. And so we're excited to launch this tool in the coming months. And we hope that this is going to drive real change in sourcing and in the apparel industry. Thank you.
Thank you. We should reward you because you came in exactly on time. So your rating would be very, very high. Okay, well done. That was very, very interesting. And last but by no means least, we arrive with you, Maria Bosquet, and you're going to tell us all about your brand in 10 minutes or less. Off you go. Do you need this?
First of all, I want to thank Omina and Andrea and my sister who signed me in this to come here without me knowing. And she actually forgot to tell me. Totally, and I found out just a few weeks ago, so I was in totally shock, but now I'm very happy and I thank you for the opportunity. And in my back, you see a video that we did in a super fast time to keep for the visual deadline. And but I'm not. It shows the different countries where we work with and what we do in the different countries. I'm not going to talk directly to the pictures, so hopefully you are all get a little bit distracted and don't hear my voice that is trembling because I have panic. To talk on people.
You're going to be great.
Well, I started Kashmirino almost 15 years ago for a personal need. I had my children, and I could not find cashmere for children. And I was like, a mother should dress the child, should give the child the best. And I'm dressing with cashmere, and my children are not having cashmere. So I started doing cashmere for the children, and I started to do it like I started to do it like a hobby until my last kid went to the school in 2008. Then I decided to take it serious, and I started Cashmerino. And since the beginning, Cashmerino stands in 4 pillars, which are natural fibers, responsible designing, and high quality control, and working with artisans. When it comes to choosing the fabrics I was going to work with, I have to bear in mind that the children have been grown and sheltered inside of the mommy's, naturally, inside of the mommy's womb for 9 months. They come out, and they only have been in contact with natural environment. And it's our turn, when they come out, to take care of these soft and pure and fragile layers of skin. So I decided, well, what I'm going to do, I cannot just create a blanket with rough materials full of chemicals to just substitute my wounds. Or what I'm going to say to the baby, here, my little angel, come here, let me wrap you up in some petrol so you can start rolling, you know? You have to, I decided, and then another thing that worried me also, to use synthetics, is that we know that they don't make the skin breathe, and they are not absorbent. So that means that the kids, if it's hot, they're going to sweat, and that sweat is going to stay between the skin and the fabric, and we know that the synthetics have a lot of chemicals that they wash away with water. So I imagine all these chemicals mixed in with the sweat of the kid with open pores. And we know that when things hit the body and the skin, they will go to the body. Lastly, I wanted to be coherent. When we say to the kids, you know, go outside to the park and play in fresh air, I really want to send my kid to play and breathe. If I send it with synthetic, the child will go and play, but the skin will stay in a chemical sauna. So we use synthetics. We definitely don't use synthetics. We use natural fibers who are breathable and who are very intelligent, because they keep the temperature of the kids steady when it's the natural wick moistures away from the body, so the skin stays dry in hot temperatures, and in cold temperatures isolates the cold. Some may argue that they cost more and they take more time to take care of the fabrics and they wrinkle, and I will say yes, they do. But they last more. They teach, by using these fabrics, we teach our children to be a good attitude, because they will have to take care of the item, because you need to take care, learn how to wash by hand, learn how to iron, and we educate them to pass it away, and not just to use, you know, to buy, use, throw away, buy more. And then we do responsible designing. Sometimes when they ask me, are you in fashion? I say, no, me in fashion, no. Sorry, but I say, no, I just do children clothes. I say that because I believe in to dress children like children. I don't believe children should be involved in fashion at all. I think that we should keep their innocence at maximum and the magic. I think children like to be princesses and princes and be colorful. I like to put colors in children. How many children you see that they draw with black and white? Like they all draw with colors. So I decided that I did not decide it. I did the children, sorry. And what I decided is I was going to do classical styles that you can wear it today, tomorrow, and in 10 years. Also, I will use the same kind of colors and same kind of styles, so people could use what they have from previous years with different similars to what they have, and they still all look nice and same. Then high control, we do high control in our productions. And I believe that good production, you need constant communication to have constant exchange of information. We take it so seriously that we have created many chat groups with many of the artisans we work with. So we have chat groups with artisans in Peru, in Italy, and in all those places. This enables us to make a very high-end detailed product because we can change it in the moment by talking to them, and this enables them to be more motivated towards us because they can send us pictures of the things that they think, oh, but you know, maybe we could change this and make this flower like this or like that. So we have an exchange, and the end products, it comes much beautiful because there are many minds thinking. Then we go, we can only do that, of course, because we work in an artisan way. So we're working with artisans in different places. We work with communities in Peru for our Pima cotton and our paca. We work with small laboratory manufacturers in Italy where they produce all our wovens, the shirts, the pants. Then we work also with families because all these ladies that we find, that is so hard to find because now nobody wants to do the handmade embroidery, smoke especially, in Europe. So we find all these ladies in different places in Italy and Spain, and we have to send them the fabrics, and then so they can embroider, and then we get them back. And also we produce finally for the cashmere. We work in Mongolia, in China, in a beautiful workshop made of women, mainly moms, that they have such a nice teamwork that is beautiful to see. And many times you see children playing there, and there's one of the child in one of the videos that he was studying. And I was like surprised how he could concentrate while his mom was working. Because we work with artisans that have a small production, we are able to make a lot of designs in very small productions, in very small quantities. So by default, Cashmerino is a limited edition, you know, line, because we make, when I design, I can never choose. And then I like everything in all the colors. So we end up having so many designs in so many different colors. One of the things that I say sometimes, because we work in different places, and sometimes people question me, the made in. So I always answer to them, Cashmerino dress children in all the world from all nationalities, so we work with the moms in all nationalities. Can I just say the last thing? I have to skip one part, but lastly, what we have introduced is an educational pillar that is going to come in the middle, and it's because I want children not only to have a beautiful product, but when they wear something, I want them to know where it comes from. So we created these books that you can read online with a family of bears that we narrate all my travels and all the stories so children can know about the places, about the people who have done every single atom and the materials. Sorry. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I wish we had time to be introduced to the family of bears. That's what I would really like to be introduced to. Now, a little bit like Maria, we have just so many designs and so many colors on this panel. We have an embarrassment of riches, frankly, and I'm really sorry, but we don't have time to get into a whole panel debate as well. I think we've heard about the most amazing spread of different approaches and different ways of integrating sustainability. I mean, you're all working in such fundamentally important ways, in such different ways. I would have no idea how to get a coherent discussion going in 5 minutes. But I really hope that you're going to be around for the coffee break. And I would really advise that if you have a question, because we have such a diverse range of experiences, I think you'll know who you need to speak to. So choose wisely, be really nice and smiley, and maybe one of these people will answer your question in the coffee break. Would that be okay? Amazing. Can you just say thank you again to this wonderful, wonderful panel? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The pillows you're sitting on are made from recycled materials by Entre Costuras. We thank them for their effort and support of Omina 2018. Please bring your attention to Erika Martinez for a brief announcement before our 15-minute coffee break. Please bring your attention to Erika Martinez for a brief announcement before our 15-minute coffee break.
Buenas. Hi, everybody.
Please bring your attention to Erika Martinez at the main stage for a brief announcement.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Carol, and this is Erika Martin, who organized the Satisfactory Market outside. It's also the Omina Market, organized by the Satisfactory. We wanted to invite you to come to our little stands where we have our products which are sustainable and local. I'm going to pass the microphone so that each one of the brands says their name and what they're doing, what they're selling, so that you can please follow us online. And also, if you have any comments or if you have any feedback from what you've been learning here, you can talk to us personally and tell us what you think. And we're also very thankful for your support, and if you can tell people about our brands. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Magali Cuillo from Cotilú Activewear.
And I'm her partner, Carol.
Okay. Hello, my name is John Howard. I am a menswear made in Costa Rica.
Good afternoon, I'm Juliet. I'm the founder of Home by Juliet, which are products made in Nicaragua. So I bring all the product made by natural fiber and cotton. I hope you will come to see our works. It's a limited edition, so we wait for you afterwards.
Hola, Pamela, Cruda Shoes.
Hola, I'm Maite Forn from Spain. I live in Costa Rica 25 years. And my brand is My Terra Bamboo Wear. Everything is handed and is made in Costa Rica and designed in Costa Rica.
Hi, I'm Vanessa from El Canto, and we work with Costa Rican artisans to preserve the traditional oxcar painting into women's clothing and accessories.
Hi, my name is Marcia. I made upcycling about men's shirts, and it will be nice if you come to see us and share the love we share.
Hi, my name is Gloriana. I'm the founder of Iron Kids of the World. We are a foundation that we sell tote bags, and when you purchase a tote bag, we bring water filtration to indigenous communities.
Hello, my name is Sofia Rivera and create Cibo Body Care Supply.
My name is Jimena Bolaños and I make jewelry in silver and gold.
Hi, I'm sorry. My name is Elena Gil and I'm the designer of brand Lolita Mia. It's jewelry and accessories.
Hi. My name is Maria. I am a fashion and textile designer, and my brand is Osted.
Hi, my name is Lola, and I'm a jewelry artisan. My project is called Solida.
Hi, my name is Ingrid Cordero. My label is Frau Lam. I make clothes and textile objects.
Hello, my name is Daila Arias, and we are an urban chic, vintage, and upcycle clothing brand.
Hello, my name is Alejandro. I have Econauts brand, and I do nut butters.
We use national ingredients and a cold press process. So if you want to taste it,
I will.
thank you.
Hi, my name is Consuelo. I have a brand, it's called Mus Mus. We do tailoring for women. We work with specialized tailors and we personalize and customize every piece. Thank you.
Let us now enjoy a 15-minute coffee break. Please be back on time to...
Okay. Okay. I hope you come visit the market. I'm the curator that I picked the brands that are selling their products, and they're all very passionate about what they do. I hope you can discover more about them.
Please start taking your seats. We'll be back on in 1 minute. It's time to take a seat. Please return to your places. Welcome back. Next on the agenda is the panel Creating a Culture of Sustainability, brought to you by Universidad Veritas.
Veritas es una universidad diferente a todas. Hacemos cosas diferentes y de maneras diferentes.
Este año estamos cumpliendo 5 años. Nacimos como un programa internacional y actualmente somos el único programa internacional de diseño de modas en la región. Hemos tenido grandes logros. En el 2013 obtuvimos el segundo premio en el encuentro académico de la Bienal Iberoamericana de Diseño. En el 2015 también tuvimos la oportunidad de participar en el Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week de la ciudad de Nueva York, siendo la única universidad centroamericana que ha tenido la posibilidad de participar en dicho evento. Estamos trabajando con distintos tipos de materiales a partir de fibras naturales, tratando de buscar elementos que puedan ser sostenibles o biodegradables, que puedan tener realmente un impacto favorable para el medio ambiente.
Vamos a exponer más o menos lo que fue mi proyecto del quinto cuatrimestre relacionado a Activewear, en donde resolvemos lesiones médicas por medio de la indumentaria. Yo me basé en lesiones médicas que ocurren en el voleibol, la tendinitis patelar y la inflamación del manguito rotador. Partiendo de esto, empecé a construir para mejorar lo que fue el funcionamiento del deporte. Por medio de materiales licrados, una costura que fuera flexible y que liberara partes para empoderar a la hora de jugar el deporte. En mi caso, yo cuando empecé a estudiar moda tenía un concepto muy diferente de lo que era en sí moda. la idea de un pensamiento que va mucho más allá, es conocer el cuerpo, es entender las necesidades de todos los días y tratar de buscar soluciones como diseñador. Va enfocado a lo que es la población, a lo que es una persona, que hay diferentes tipos de cuerpo, diferentes personalidades, y uno puede trabajar en esas diferentes personalidades, esos diferentes tipos de cuerpo, diferentes culturas. Entonces, moda abarca todo. O sea, moda no es solo una camisa, no es solo un pantalón, moda es un entendimiento de lo que es una persona y de lo que es su cuerpo.
Please let us receive Luis Diego Quiroz, Dean of Universidad Veritas.
Buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos. Mi nombre es Luis Diego Quiroz y soy el decano académico de la Universidad Veritas. Y antes de empezar el panel que esta tarde hemos decidido patrocinar, quería traer a la conversación 3 ideas que para nosotros son sumamente importantes a lo que respecta a la sostenibilidad. Voy a muy rápido decir las 3 ideas porque los panelistas que vienen a continuación son personas ejemplares en cuanto a cómo piensan ellos este tema. Y es que para nosotros en Veritas es sumamente importante. Y lo decimos porque hay profesionales que están haciendo esfuerzos gigantescos. Este es un edificio hecho por Norman Foster, uno de los mejores arquitectos del mundo, con una de las firmas más reconocidas, y diseñó un edificio que, si ustedes entran a la página web, va a decir, produce energía para la ciudad. Era un ejemplo de edificio. Sin embargo, una vez evaluado, después de construido, recibió una nota D en su desempeño energético. Esto no es culpa de la firma, no es culpa del arquitecto, esto simplemente nos pone a pensar en uno de los puntos más importantes sobre la sostenibilidad. Y es que ser sostenible no es nada fácil. Ser sostenible implica una serie de riesgos, una serie de decisiones personales, comunitarias y profesionales que nos van a llevar a de verdad tener un mundo sostenible. Y todavía no entendemos mucho de esto. No entendemos mucho de los procesos de creación de materiales, de procesos de, por ejemplo, de cómo nos deshacemos de muchos de estos materiales. Y nosotros tenemos estudiantes graduados como Ariana Salazar, que hoy en día se encuentra en MIT haciendo algunos proyectos con el Media Lab, que están estudiando ejemplos como esto. Esto es un ejercicio donde le pusieron un dispositivo, un tracker, a basura y después geotaguearon por dónde iba esa basura o esas cosas que se botaron por los Estados Unidos. ¿Por qué? Porque sabemos mucho hoy en día del proceso de producción de materiales, nos concentramos mucho en eso, pero no sabemos cuánto cuesta de verdad disponernos de ellos. Y se darán cuenta que muchos de los materiales salieron de Seattle y llegaron hasta lugares como Florida para ser ya dados por finalizado su vida útil. Esto tiene un costo y esto no lo hemos medido todavía. Todas estas cosas forman parte de un mundo y una comunidad sostenible y eso es lo que queremos nosotros enseñar. Entonces, no nos engañemos, sigamos a las personas que están siendo líderes en esta área, pero sepamos que no es fácil ser sostenibles. Segunda idea, ser sostenible es bastante complejo. Ya les conté un poquito de cómo es que no sabemos mucho, pero todas estas cosas están incluidas en un proceso de sostenibilidad. Y dentro de estas cosas hay temas que son medibles y mesurables, como la energía de un edificio, pero también hay cosas que son inmedibles o inmesurables. Y tenemos que concentrarnos en algunas de ellas para poder de verdad decir, estamos logrando un cambio en nuestra cultura. Y nosotros tratamos de enseñar este tipo de cosas. Y hay un tema que nos preocupa y que tiene que ver con la educación, y es la cultura. Muchos definen la cultura como la suma de todas las creencias, conocimientos, lenguaje, costumbres, etcétera, que tiene un pueblo. Es decir, todo lo que hacemos es parte de una cultura. Sin embargo, si leemos a gente como Vargas Llosa, nos vamos a dar cuenta que debemos ser críticos. Debemos ser críticos de una postura que acepta absolutamente todo como bueno. Y hoy en día nos encontramos en una situación donde nos es difícil criticar. Y entonces hay diferentes definiciones de cultura. cultura popular podría ser todo lo que hacemos. Sin embargo, hay una definición de cultura que yo creo que nosotros, los que estamos en la educación, tenemos que hoy en día ser firmes en, y es lo que suele llamarse alta cultura. Y a nosotros nos toca la responsabilidad de educar a los futuros profesionales a llegar a los conocimientos e ideas que tienen altos estándares de desarrollos intelectuales y morales. Recientemente tuvimos en la universidad a Linda Elder. Linda Elder es la fundadora de la Fundación de Pensamiento Crítico, una de las instituciones de más largo estándar, de más alto estándar en cuanto a pensamiento crítico, y ella criticaba altamente el pensamiento egocéntrico que tenemos hoy en día en nuestra cultura. Y eso es algo que a nosotros nos preocupa. Y los panelistas que vienen hoy a presentar hacen todo excepto eso. Ellos han logrado pasar y van más allá de estas preguntas que muchas veces nos hacemos y que muchas veces es a través de las cuales vemos el mundo. Si nosotros estamos pensando, esto es cierto porque yo nada más lo creo, o esto es cierto porque mi grupo lo cree, o esto es cierto porque así quiero creerlo, y no estamos pensando de manera crítica, estamos haciéndole un daño a los demás. Tenemos que ser pensadores críticos y pensadores sistemáticos. Y la gente que viene a continuación, eso es lo que ha hecho. Ha logrado entender la moda, la producción de espacios, la producción de objetos como una parte de un sistema muy complejo. Y van a ver cómo no solo piensan en la producción de los materiales, sino en todo lo que implica la producción de estos objetos. Y para terminar, ¿dónde caemos nosotros? ¿Dónde caen eventos de este tipo que tienen un trasfondo de compartir ideas, tienen un trasfondo educativo? No lo vamos a lograr y no vamos a llegar a un pensamiento realmente sostenible si no es a través de compartir maneras de pensar críticas y de entender el pensamiento y lo intelectual como un sistema de pensamiento sistémico. Así que los dejo con los próximos panelistas. Bienvenidos y muchísimas gracias por estar aquí.
With this round of applause, please receive the moderator for this panel, Omina CEO, Andrea Soma.
Bueno, voy a hablar en español porque gran parte del público aquí presente habla español y entonces hacemos un mix de los dos. Este panel se llama Creando una cultura de sostenibilidad y las personas que van a participar son 5 personas que han hecho de la sostenibilidad su vida. Parte del desafío que tenemos es no solo de hablar de la sostenibilidad en términos medioambientales, sociales, hemos hablado en lo que tiene que ver con la materialidad de los productos, sino cómo crear un cambio de mentalidad hacia otro estilo de vida y otro estilo de consumo. Y eso es lo que vamos a ver hoy acá. Como reflexión y un poco el espíritu bajo el cual organizamos este panel, es que por lo menos desde la invención de la televisión nosotros llevamos 70 años en lo que la cultura nos enseña que tener éxito en la vida es tener cada año una casa más grande, un coche más rápido, tener un closet lleno de ropa. Yo creo que hoy en día ya nos hemos dado cuenta de que eso no es la felicidad. Entonces, estamos acá para explorar nuevos caminos y para entender qué es el bienestar. Entonces, yo los invito a que aprovechen las presentaciones de nuestros 5 panelistas que desde diferentes ángulos abordan este tema, porque la sostenibilidad empieza por la inner sustainability. Entonces, ¿cómo proyectar desde adentro la sostenibilidad hacia afuera y tener coherencia? Y también tiene que ser divertida y tiene que tener un twist un poco más frívolo. Entonces, eso es lo que vamos a ver en este panel. Un poquito, una pincelada de cada una de estas cosas. Vamos a empezar presentándolos a todos juntos y vamos a hacer un ejercicio con todos ustedes, porque yo sé que ya deben estar muy cansados de estar sentados en ese banco tan duro. Entonces, los voy a invitar todos a pasar. Y los vamos a invitar a todos a que se pongan de pie, se tomen de la mano hold your hands, all of you. And then we're going to breathe in and breathe out. And now we invite you to hold each other. Okay. So thank you, everybody. Muchas gracias. No. So thank you very much. No, I'm joking. So now I would like to introduce Mr. Patrick Duffy from Global Fashion Exchange. Go. You can give it to me. You can give it to me if you want. The crown.
Oh, the crown? No,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
keeping the crown. Yeah. Where do I go? Oh. Okay. Is this on? Oh, it's on. Okay. So, hi. So, something just happened. Andrea reviewed my presentation. And she says to me, Patrick, don't try to sound smart. I was like, fuck, okay. So that's out the window. So I basically had to retool everything and literally throw it out the window. So this is going to be my presentation. And, and it's actually going to be a personal journey story. And, but before I do that, I would just like to say how incredible this whole thing has been and how inspiring it has been for me personally. Seeing you, hearing all the stories, it's just incredible. So thank all of you, and so I guess I'll start. So, hi, my name is Patrick Duffy. The title of this presentation is From Drag Queen to the United Nations, a Working Girl's Story. That's me. It all started way back when. I'm not going to give you my age, but the internet was just in its like fledgling stages in New York City. I had just arrived, and I was working as a door girl at one of the hottest clubs. So I love to dance. I was working at a door girl at one of the hottest clubs, and I got to know everybody, and I realized that I am like a social creature, and I have this like innate ability to like connect with people, and I love that, and that's really fun. So super fast forward, what ended up happening was I became from door girl, I said, well, you know what, I should actually throw this party, because I know how to throw parties. I'm really good at that. Like real good at that. Still recovering from some of those. So anyways, so I decided to like start throwing parties. I became a party promoter. So I was throwing great parties. They were I think you were at a few of those. Maybe you were at a few of those. I think I saw those heels. Anyway, so then I was like, well, this is great. And then I kind of like had this hunger to like do more. So I was like, well, I'm not just gonna be a party promoter. I want to produce these things. I want to like, you know, control these things. I want to do all that. So I got into it. I started my own production company. It was Mr. Patrick Duffy Productions, and I was throwing the best parties and hiring. It was just great. So from, you know, life was good. Life was busy. Didn't have any time for myself. I was working for the money. I was just like grinding. And then I decided, you know, that's not enough. Why don't I just open a restaurant on top of that? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open a restaurant. I don't know if any of you have ever owned one, worked in one, been a part of one. It's H-E double hockey sticks is what that is. So I had all this stuff going on, and that wasn't enough. So I decided to start a little fashion journalism on the side. Just throw that in there. And super fast forward, we're at the restaurant during Fashion Week, probably a couple years back, and this woman walks in. She's Danish, and I'm Danish, kind of. And she's like, have you ever been to Denmark? And I was like, no, I've never been to Denmark, but I'm Danish. Let's make this happen. She says, yeah. And I say, great. So the next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Daneland, and that's where I am. I'm doing fashion journalism now, and I'm reviewing the fabulous shows of Copenhagen Fashion Week, and which actually was kind of Copenhagen-ish. And anyway, so I was doing that, and I was like really excited about this. And then one thing that I started to realize my life was about was it was all about consumption. Like it was kind of slowly starting to creep in that I was like pushing, you know, booze and pushing this and pushing that and pushing stuff on people, making them buy and making them this and writing for magazine, making, and I just like, it didn't really set in until one day, about after like my 10th time in Copenhagen, one day I was laying in bed and I turned on CNN. And I saw something that changed my life forever. I still get a little, really get choked up when I think about it, because it is such a tragedy, even though there are lots of tragedies in the fashion industry. This was probably the biggest one, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the Rana Plaza incident. So I'm sitting there, and I'm seeing this, and I had that aha moment, like Oprah came running through my life, and I was like, girl, what the hell am I doing? She didn't really come. But anyways, that would have been so great. She's coming. Anyway, so I had this aha moment, and I was like, oh. Then chaos started, and everything was like, I uprooted myself, and I can't have this, and I gave my clothing away, I gave my furniture away, I gave my restaurant up, I gave my art away, I gave it all away, and I went super minimal, no clothes, I stripped it down to about like 30 items, and was like basically standing in the world naked. Like brand new fetus, oh my God, this is, what the fuck? Like literally. So I got back on the plane to Copenhagen, and I had this like new, like refreshed look at life. And I went, and my friend was like, well, you know, have you ever heard of this word sustainability? And I was like, what's that? And she's like, well, you know, this is kind of what we really should be thinking about in the fashion industry. And since you saw that with the Rana Plaza, she opened my eyes up to even more things that are happening. And so I kind of started to dig deeper, and I thought, oh my God, I can't do anything else. I can't do anything else except address this issue. So I'm running around Copenhagen on a bike, and all of a sudden, I look, and in the yonder distance, I see like what looked like thousands of fashionistas, probably like 30, standing there. My mom said never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So, so anyways, I see the millions of fashionistas standing there, and they're all holding bags of clothing like very uniformly in line, excited, but they're in line and they're waiting to go into this tent that says Fashion Exchange. And I said, what, girl, what? I said, Ava, what is that over there, honey? And she was like, that's the Fashion Exchange. I said, well, clearly it says that on the roof, but what the heck is a fashion exchange? And she said, well, that's a clothing swap. And I said, well, what's a clothing swap? And she said, well, a clothing swap is when you bring your clothes and I bring my clothes and we swap and we change. And we kind of do, this is something that we do in Daneland. And I was like, what? Okay, so like super curious, I like peered into all this fashionistas swapping, went into the clothing swap. And I have never seen such joy, pandemonium, amazingness, and like free clothes, and I was just like completely blown away. No commercialism, no consumerism, no buy this. Happy people sharing, loving, having fun. I was like, this is it. Boom, 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 boom. So it all started to click. So that's when I started Global Fashion Exchange. I literally dropped my life, dropped everything, and said, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. So I did. And the very first one I did was in Copenhagen, with the support of the nice Copenhagen people, and we had quite an amazing turnout. We had 1,500 people, and we swapped 7.5 tons of clothing, which was pretty amazing for my first time at the rodeo. And I've got 1 minute left. So point being is, this story is about you. The story is about you can do it. The story is about transformation. The story is about, I literally completely shifted my life. I went, super inspired by your story earlier, Donna, completely shifted my life. And I was so freaking scared. I was like, I don't think I can do it. I really don't think I can do it. But guess what? Now I've done it, and now we have global fashion exchanges happening in 25 cities. I just ticked the 220,000 pound line for clothing that we've swapped and saved from going to landfills. We're growing every day, and we're just on fire. And that fire comes from this. And that's my story.
No, sit down with me. Here. So it's my pleasure to introduce now the founder of Alice Collective, a branding specialized in sustainability, a branding agency, Drea Murphy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Drea Murphy, and I am the founder of Alice Collective, which is a creative brand building company. We specialize in strategic partnerships and kind of innovative strategies within fashion, tech, wellness, and lifestyle. So we really take a 360 approach to brand building. So that's through PR, marketing, influencer outreach, events, now curating retail, etc. And all of our clients speak to sustainability in their own way.
Yeah, I'm sorry, can you?
Oh, good. Is it better? Sorry. So I'm going to start by kind of telling you a little bit about my past and what kind of brought me to where I am today. So I started in traditional fashion. My first job was at Calvin Klein. It was such an incredible experience working for an American designer, working in their headquarters in New York, being able to see the design process, a sketch come into, see down the runway to retail on Madison Avenue. I also got to work on all of the white label Calvin Klein underwear, CK1 brands, which was an incredible experience as well, but it was the first time fashion and sustainability kind of sparked my interest. I went on then to Ralph Lauren, which is another incredible American designer, doing everything from PR to marketing and influencer dressing. Then I took a little bit of a turn, and I stayed in fashion, but fast fashion. So I came to Topshop as their head of communications and really brought the brand to the US. And this was a time when Topshop still had that exclusive notion in the US. Everyone was like, oh, where'd you get that? And you said Topshop, you couldn't get it again, because everyone got it either in London or Spain. And so it was really amazing to see the fast fashion movement firsthand. The corporate office was on the top floor of the Soho retail store. So I was in and out of the retail space almost, numerous of times a day. And that was really when the amount of product and inventory really struck a kind of a nerve. The turnover of product every day within the store was mind-blowing, so it kind of got me thinking of materialism and how it was affecting our environment. I mean, fast fashion was now everywhere, and it was addictive, and it was cheap, and it was kind of changing the course, at least how I knew it. I think in 2007, H&M opened like 434 stores or something crazy like that, which breaks down to like 7 stores a day. It was just incredible. So I really took all of those experiences and wanted to start my own something. I knew I loved telling brand stories, but I also knew that there was something more to that. And so I really wanted to create something that had a sustainable element. That leads me to my first client ever, which is Cien. I'm actually wearing it right now. But this is a brand that is so dear to my heart because, you know, I think now sustainability, we're all talking about it, it's very almost trendy. And I feel like, you know, 4 years ago, a lot of people still weren't talking about it. And to see kind of from the ground up a designer quit her corporate job and kind of start this, this brand was really powerful. So it's all locally made in New York, and all the fabrics were globally sourced. So they were from Ethiopia, Peru, Japan, all over. And it's an expensive process, but it was an incredible business model. I mean, the direct-to-consumer movement was something I was so interested in. And Nicole Helm, who's the founder of Cien, we had this conversation very early on, and it's something that really struck a chord, and something that I live kind of helped my company grow. We had a conversation, and she said something around sustainability shouldn't be a thing. It should just coexist with modern brands. And that's really how I try to live only my personal life, but also all the clients throughout Elise Collective. I really think sustainability is a no-brainer, and every brand should be part of it in one way or another. So that kind of transitioned my company to work with not only fashion brands, but hotels and wellness brands, and you know, apps like Village Luxe. So I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of clients and how I work with them and how they are kind of leading the change in sustainability. One is the One Hotels. And it's very serendipitous because Paloma, who's also on this panel, she's the creator of Plant the Future. I'm such a fan of her work, and she has this enormous store in the Miami hotel, the Miami One Hotel, and now meeting her today is so special. But the One Hotel, everything from their check-in key is made out of recyclable wood. Even when you're in the shower, they gently remind you how long you've been in, so how much water you've been consuming or using. So being able to do strategic partners at the One Hotel is so valuable, whether it's bringing in, you know, a brand like Cien to do a pop-up, or working with Google to kind of change the way in-room experience is done. When you check in, a Google Android is your only device. So it eliminates any sort of in-room dining or collateral that's in the hotel. Next, I wanted to speak a little bit about wellness. And, you know, I think, again, wellness is so trendy right now. Everyone's talking about it. Not all of us were as smart as Donna Karen to do yoga and meditate when we were 16. But I think it's such an amazing tie-in to sustainability, and, you know, to kind of talking about culture of sustainability and how it kind of makes you, you know, think about every element of your life. Well Told Health is an organic supplement company. It's the only one on the market right now that's 100% organic, made out of organic food. I know that sounds crazy, but in the US, they don't regulate supplements. So a brand can say it's 35, or it's organic, and you really look and it's 35% organic. So this one is, you know, special to my heart because you're ingesting it, right? So being able to think about sustainability to not only what you put on your body, but what you put in your body is really important, and their packaging is sustainable down to the ink on the bottles. Next, lastly, I kind of want to touch on, which Shannon from Village Luxe so amazingly spoke about yesterday, is just the whole element of Village Luxe and how it's really changing the way people shop and wear fashion. I was an early user of Village Luxe. I was not working with them. I was just a fan of the concept. I had met with the founder, Julia, just through a friend, and we spoke about the kind of sisterhood, which I almost eye rolled at, to be totally honest. And then I experienced it, and never been the same since. I mean, I think being able to eliminate the waste and so many things. You know, in New York, it's like we have events and things all the time, and to be able to wear something new every time and still, you know, be kind of conscious of just the amount of stuff is really incredible. I am so grateful to be here, and I think I really feel lucky to be able to work with brands to help create their identity through sustainability. But I also think that it's, you know, as we move further on, it's so important that sustainability is, of course, part of the conversation. I think it's the new norm, and I think most brands have to, I mean, I think someone said this yesterday, if your brand isn't sustainable, it's not gonna survive. And I think being able to kind of cultivate that in a cool luxury way is something new, and it's something that is gonna be the reality going forward. And thank you so much for listening, and thank you.
Amazing, short and super sharp. Thank you. Yes.
Brava, brava, brava.
Hello. Hello. So please welcome fashion activist Céline Simon.
Hi everybody, last talk of the day. Thank you so much for your generous time and for listening. My name is Céline Seman. I'm going to tell you a little bit about fashion activism, of course, but how sustainability is a culture. Is it working? No, wait. How does it work? Can it play? Sorry, technical difficulties. I pressed green, I promise. No. Nope. This should play. It's not playing. It's the wrong file. Okay, it's okay. So I guess we won't be able to see it. It's supposed to play. Is it playing from your side? Thank you so much for your generous time. Oh. Yay, that's me dancing. Okay, so I was born in Lebanon in the middle of a war that torn my country apart. And this is me dancing at 3.5 years old, just before we fled Lebanon as refugees to come to the United States and then eventually find asylum in Canada. And right after this was my sister's baptism. She's right there. Right after this, we had to flee the home and go to the shelters. And later on, our home got destroyed. And that's how we had to escape. Oops. No. Like this, and no, okay. But I come from a culture of joy and resilience. And for me, this is how I got into sustainable fashion, not as a planned action, but more as when I became a refugee in Montreal. Eventually, we returned to Lebanon when I was 13 years old, and experiencing the destruction of my country, both the human cost and the environmental cost, has led me to always be a very conscious person around consumption, how we consume. For example, H&M, Zara, Mango, they just arrived in Lebanon not even 15 years ago. And before that, we didn't have any of these things. And for us, we consider them luxury, you know, to be able to afford Zara. Wow, you're rich, you know. So this is our refugee status photo. We took this picture in the airport just before fleeing as refugees. And when I show this to my friends, they're all like, oh my gosh, is that your Christmas card? And I say, no. And they're like, but your mom is so cool. She's wearing makeup and she's wearing a leather jacket. And I said, yes, because for us, in our culture, beauty is a sign of resilience, is a sign of resistance. And when I work a lot with refugees in Lebanon. Actually, 1.8 million Syrian refugees are currently living in Lebanon. We are hosting the most amount of refugees in the entire region, and I think in the entire world. And when we work with refugees, I'll tell you a little bit more about them, we realize that beauty is a sign of resistance, and it's a sign of dignity. And dignity is something you cannot take away from anyone, which is... which got me to coin the term fashion activism. What is it? Fashion is, whoops, I don't know where my slides are. Fashion is the conductor of culture. Culture creates action, and action can change the world. Fashion can carry action. Fashion has a meaning, and meaning creates action. So what I do at Slow Factory, I'll tell you very quickly, because I only have 8 minutes, and it's very hard to summarize my life in 8 minutes, but I'll be quick. I have 6 minutes. Fashion and purpose. But I had a technical problem. You see, my Lebanese side is going to come back. So fashion creates purpose, and purpose creates action. And I'm going to show you very quickly what that looks like. This is a key, a refugee key. Okay, it's called the dignity key. It's to honor the refugee tradition of Palestinians when they left their homes and come to Lebanon. They were all wearing their keys around their necks. When I returned to Lebanon, I was 13 years old after the war ended in 1995. And I asked my mom, what is this key? I want a key. And she's like, no, no, you're not allowed to wear a key. It's only for the Palestinians. Fast forward a couple of years later, there was the big war in Syria, and I wanted to figure out a symbol, a sign that could bring people together around a key. And I molded the key out of my home with my sister who lives in Lebanon. We molded the key of our home in Beirut and turned it into a jewelry. And this jewelry piece is made by Armenian refugees in Lebanon, because we also host the Armenian refugees in Lebanon that, from the genocide that we are not acknowledging currently. And so when we, you see, fashion and politics go hand in hand. I always mention the elephant in the room because I come from this type of place in the world that we constantly undergo chaos and destruction. And for us, it's very easy to discuss things as they are. But with this key, the New York Times featured us, and we sold a lot of keys, and we teamed up with ANERA, the American Near East Refugee Aid, a US organization that provides education and ongoing skill training programs for refugees across the Middle East, and specifically in Lebanon. And with that, we went back to Beirut. I go to Lebanon all the time. My family's there. I'm the only expat. I went back to Lebanon and I asked ANERA, can I visit the refugee camps? Can I go with you to see how the education initiatives that we're funding is helping? She's like, yes, and more than that, you can come and be involved with us. You can help us perfect this education initiative, because my background is not in fashion. Previously to that, I come from tech. I come from open knowledge and open access to information. Information is power. So I said, yes, let's do it. So I brought some of our Slow Factory scarves. And again, you might not know what we do, but we print NASA satellite images on sustainably sourced silk that's biodegradable. And the idea is to wrap yourself with the earth and the universe so you can stop killing each other. So here we have the universe. And here we have some of the cities by night that we have printed. So these girls are stranded in Beirut, stranded in Lebanon, in Tripoli. They can never leave Lebanon. And here they are wrapping themselves with Paris by night, New York by night, USA by night, London by night, and they're dreaming. And they're like, wow, it's as if I am going there. So we did a photo shoot, and then Teen Vogue wrote about it. It was wonderful. So we were able to elevate their voices and really play with the scarves and have a good time. And I kept in touch with these girls. They're all on Instagram, by the way, which inspired me to write about Arab girl magic. The idea that Arabs is such a bad word, and to be an Arab girl, you don't really have any representation. Colonialism and sustainability go hand in hand in terms of exploitation and how we are able to take from the lands that are bringing things forward, but use them for the better of the Western world and not for the better of the countries that we're trying to help. So this is a flight jacket that I did for the ACLU. It's the the US Constitution in Arabic on the back. And inside, it's the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of right. And this jacket has been acquired to the San Francisco Fine Arts Museum. It's going to be showing in September, so I'm very proud. It's our third piece in a museum. I'm very, very proud of the pieces that we have and how they are being collected in museums because they embody a story, they embody history. We did the We the People necklace also for ACLU, and then Selena Gomez was seen wearing one of them, and silently she made a point. Silently she was able to make a stand, a political stand, just with one necklace. And of course this is during right after the election of the new US president. We're not gonna name him. And the message went viral, and with that simple necklace that said, "We the people," we were able to really raise awareness about all of it. This is the this is Middle East, North Africa by night, 7 banned countries with the word "banned" crossed out as a scarf. This is the example of what we do with NASA images. I'll show you a little bit more. Again, went viral, and headlines like "the designer that takes aim at Trump," and then my mom calls me, she's like, "Yeah, Celine, like stop talking like this. Why you put everybody against you?" And I'm like, "No, don't worry." She's like, "You are not gonna be able to come back to Lebanon." No, don't worry. This is Gaza by night on silk with the word peace. The astronaut who took it was flying around the Earth in the International Space Station, and he took that picture during the war in Gaza, and he tweeted, "This is the saddest picture I'm taking from space." Now, just so you know, astronauts, when they're they're orbiting around the Earth, they're not sad, they're tripping. Actually, it's called the overview effect. It's the idea of a mental shift that happens in your brain when you're able to see the Earth from space for the first time. It's a spiritual experience. So for him to say this is the saddest picture from space, I definitely downloaded it and printed it right away. Because for me, this is what I'm trying to convey to people. My time is over. It went viral, of course. With this scarf, we were able to build a school in the West Bank. This is the principal and the main teacher of that school. What we do is fair trade, it's sustainable, it also raises awareness, it raises funds, it's a circular process. These are our so much. I didn't finish. It's not even over. I didn't talk about the library.
Oh, I hope, okay, we're fine. Thank you so much, thank you. So please welcome sustainable blogger and entrepreneur, Valeria Hinojosa.
Hi, is it working? Yes, perfect. Hi, everyone. How can I keep up with that presentation? That was beautiful. I loved it. Some of you know me as Water Through Skin, which is a lifestyle blog I started 4 years ago. But I'm going to take a minute right here and not talk to you guys as an influencer or as an entrepreneur, but as a human, because that's a thing that we share in common. And today, I just want you to think about what I'm going to show and the impact that we can have on our planet. Because we've been talking about sustainability for the past 2 days, but if we don't change our mindsets and if we don't start changing our lifestyle, none of this matters. Like all the information that amazing speakers have been pouring into your brains doesn't matter if you don't start changing your daily habits. So that leads me into my topic, conscious lifestyle. But before I start talking about that, I think I need to share with you who I was 4 years ago, which is not the human being you see right here. That was me 4 years ago. I was a private banker. I worked in the finance industry. I did that for 5 years, and it consumed my soul entirely. I became an egomaniac. I was buying way more than I needed. I had an embarrassing savings account for a banker. And this was pretty much the lifestyle that I was leading. I wasn't connecting with my passions. I had lost the child and the girl that loved nature completely. And I just detached from everything that was good. And it got to a point that depression, I think someone was talking, I think it was Donna, you were talking about the suicide rate. And depression hits all of us when we're not connected with our passions. And that happened to me. So I had crazy thoughts. I didn't like the person that I was. I didn't like the life that I had chosen. And I had to do something about it. So that's how my blog started. I was vegetarian at that time already, and I wanted to learn how I could sort of impact the world in a better way. I wanted to become a better human. And I started watching all the films, Cowspiracy, Earthlings, If Slaughterhouses Had Glass Walls by Paul McCartney, cried for hours. And then I started my blog, Water Through Skin. So this is what I do now. I quit banking 3 years ago, and I've been dedicating my life and time, and this is honestly what I breathe and live, to promote a conscious lifestyle. I travel around the world, as you can see, promoting eco-friendly hotels worldwide, and these are amazing hotels that they're powered by the sun, solar energy, wind energy, hydropower. They offer vegan meals and their menu, which is amazing. Yoga, which is something that I'm super inspired by. It has led my journey. I've been practicing yoga for 8 years, and I became a yoga teacher too. So this is what I've been doing, and besides that, I promote sustainable fashion. As you can see, everything that I'm wearing is sustainable and fair trade, even the watch that is powered by the sun. So 3 hours of sun, 6 months of watch, which is awesome. And that leads me to why I'm here. Conscious lifestyle. What is it? Because that's the #1 question that I get by a lot of people. What exactly does it mean to be a conscious human being? And it's pretty simple. You can read it. I wrote that, but I'll just explain it to you. It's everything. It's the way you think. It's the way you talk. It's what you eat. It's what you wear. And it's your energy, like the energy that is flowing in your body. And above all, it's what you inspire unto others. So this is what I focus my life on, becoming a conscious human being. And it's right that I can summarize it in those 3 sentences. It's a change of mindset. It's deprogram to reprogram. So we need to pretty much forget what society and education and college has taught you so that you can become a human that actually feels, a human that is craving connection. And Control, Alt, Delete. Of course, that's my favorite one. Delete everything and start from scratch. Why does it matter? You can see this right here. So it's pretty much the information that we've been sharing and all the speakers have been sharing for the past 2 days. It's pretty simple. We are exploding nature. I think, in my opinion, nature is screaming. We just saw the volcano in Guatemala, the other one in Hawaii, hurricanes and everything, and that's, in my opinion, Mother Nature's way of saying, I'm aching and you need to stop. And this is our wake-up call, and the reason why I like writing about this and I promote it on my social media so much is because it's very simple. We can start changing little habits here and there in your lifestyles, like carrying a metal straw instead of plastic ones and a reusable water bottle that you take with you everywhere. Those are the things that have a greater impact all combined. Like right now, I look at all of you, and I don't know if you live in Costa Rica, but I'm guessing that a lot of you flew here. So airplanes, they give you at least 3 plastic cups per passenger. Just carrying your water bottle makes a difference. I love traveling. In case you're wondering, I offset my CO2 emissions by donating to this website called climatecare.org. There are solutions for everything. They measure your CO2 emissions, which is awesome. They have like a calculator. And then you get to donate to different projects that they have, from bringing clean water to countries that don't have it, to planting trees, to protecting orangutans. Like there are options. We're just not listening. What can we do about it? This is my favorite part. Okay, so these are the things that I've been doing, and I think a lot of you, if you're following me, you got inspired by it, which is really good. Be curious, create knowledge. I think we've been programmed to become robots. It's just crazy. Whenever you go shopping, you put it in your cart and you pay for it. And you're not even asking where it's coming from. You don't read labels. You're just trusting the companies that you're supporting. So the #1 thing is be curious, crave knowledge, read labels. That's key for me in everything that you do. Second one, become a wiser consumer. So you're going to see, and I'm going to show you a video too, but part of this journey, and we were talking about that, is the inner transformation. Because it doesn't matter if you start a conscious business if you're not a conscious human being. And I mentioned this in the other talk that I had earlier today. Ego is going to get the best of you. If you're not conscious and if you don't have purity and positive vibes running through your veins, you won't be able to create the change that you're talking about and promoting into the world. Support local, sustainable, fair. I think everyone has covered that in the summit. Become a conscious human, think with soul and less with ego. Go vegan. I'm not going to dig deep into that because that's another topic. But yeah, a lot of films that I've watched that I recommend, Conspiracy, Earthlings, Food Matter, like there's so much information out there. You can Google it, or you can use Ecosia. I don't know if you heard of that. They plant trees with each search engine. And then Elliot for water, they bring clean water to people in need. So the options are there. And then use your voice. Social media, that's a huge for me. I'm an influencer, of course. I've seen the power of social media. Honestly, that's our most powerful tool right now, and we're using it in all the wrong ways. People are using it to post way too many selfies rather than just posting the things that matter, information that matters. And here's the thing, and here's the way that I see social media. I have a 12-year-old sister that follows me. And the people that she follows besides my blog are people that I would never follow. And that's the information that she's consuming. It's just fake. People use social media nowadays to promote a lifestyle that doesn't really exist. So that's number one. Make sure that you're using your social media accounts to promote change and redesign your lifestyle a little. So just by changing the coffee that you drink in the morning, supporting organic, fair trade, rainforest certified, carrying your bamboo utensils, your shopping patterns, like everything. Start making those little tweaks here and there, and that combined is gonna make you a wiser, better human being. Wow, I've never seen my photo that big, sorry. So this is just my bio, what I do. Besides the blog, I started an agency. I work with conscious influencers worldwide. So my goal with that was just to promote positive information to the world. These are amazing human beings that are using their social medias to promote sustainable brands, eco-friendly travel, veganism, everything combined. And in a few months, Carmen and I will be sharing another project with you guys, which is very interesting. It will make a conscious lifestyle easier for everyone worldwide. And I think, yeah, that's it. But before I finish, I just have one little video. Do not judge my editing skills, please. I did it myself. But this is a video that shows my journey, and sort of, it's gonna show you how cool, amazing, and adventurous a conscious lifestyle can be. These are all not all, but some of the hotels that I visited in the past 3-4 years. And these are hotels that are going above and beyond to reshape the hotel industry out there. They're mission-driven, they're eco-friendly, they support veganism, like they're amazing. And yeah, let me play it. And today is World's Ocean Day, by the way. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. It was crazy. I found out today, and I was like, this video is perfect. Okay, can we? Yes. Thank you so much. So I hope that video opens your eyes and mind to what's going on in the world. And if we don't protect our oceans, we won't be able to enjoy that. You won't be able to swim with sea creatures in wild waters. And it starts with us, guys. And the hashtag that everyone uses, be the change. It's not gonna happen if each and every person in this room doesn't start changing today. Thank you so much.
Okay, hello. Last but not least, it's my pleasure to introduce Aaron Davidson and Paloma Tepa from Plant the Future.
That's all. I don't need that. I'm good. I started. So who says she can't edit? That was pretty good, huh? Very inspirational. Good afternoon, buenas tardes, pura vida. My name is Aaron Davidson. I handle business development for Plant the Future. Today we'll be talking about how we plant our seeds towards building a more sustainable culture. Paloma Tepa will be here for Q&A, and for those of you who want to ask her why she's not giving the speech, her official version is because she's in the middle of transforming from human to plant, okay? All right, so I guess what we'll discover after this is that plants do talk, all right? Fantastic. Anyway, well, look, thanks again for having us. I'll tell you a little bit about who we are. We're a nature-inspired design firm and gallery group established 10 years ago in Miami, in Wynwood, in the Wynwood Arts District. Our mission is to connect people, or truthfully, to reconnect people with nature through biophilic design, architecture, and art in surprising and unexpected ways. Who here is aware of biophilia? Raise your hands. It's sort of a trick question because I use the word aware because we're all aware of it. It's innate. It's in our subconscious. It's in our veins. So today, and our mission as a company, is to bring that out in you and so you all realize that that's in us. Biophilia is the love of life, and it refers to the innate biological attraction that we humans have with nature and other forms of life. So we are all biophiliacs. And being in the land of Pura Vida, I would tell you, Pura Vida was coined in the 1950s. Biophilia was coined in the 1970s. There's got to be a reason Costa Rica is ahead of the rest of the world, or most of the rest of the world, by at least 20 years in sustainability and happiness. Pura Vida. How do we apply biophilia? We apply it through biophilic design, aiming to bring nature into man-made environments, resulting in proven health, productivity, and emotional benefits. So overall wellness by being aware of our innate biophilia. We started as a plant shop, believe it or not. Paloma is an industrial designer, and she despised the whole idea of cut flowers. Imagine buying cut flowers. Nothing against the cut flower industry, but you buy cut flowers to watch them die. It's a little crazy, okay? The reality is with biophilia, we want to live through the whole cycle, right? We want to see plants born and go through their cycle and live with them and nurture them. So Paloma started this plant shop with all planted flowers, planted plants in creative containers. For purposes of this summit, the fashion summit, she started dressing up plants, all right? So we've got terrariums, we've got floor plants, we've got botanical art. I'll give you an example of some of the other works we've done with natural material vessels, lava rocks, feather rocks, wooden vessels, and our star, the cocoon and the butterfly. The cocoon and the butterfly go into our arrangements at special times of the year because for us, the cocoon and the butterfly represent what we're all about here, transformation, our ability to go through metamorphosis and change from a contaminating world to a world of sustainability, all right? These are examples of how we've evolved from more of a retail shop to an art gallery, botanical art gallery as we call it, with our iconic horse, which is an upcycled toy with air plants, stormtroopers, and the kid robots with different haircuts using plants, all right? We call them mohawks, we call them all kinds of things. We also work with life-size animals because, again, biophilia is not about only plants, it's also about animals, and we all know how important it is to preserve animals in this world. We've evolved our work from what moss walls used to be, which were art pieces in and themselves, to now expressions in moss and what we call moss optical art. I'll get to that in a second. As people paid more attention to what we were doing, we got asked to do more design work. So this is one of the first examples of a completely immersive experience in biophilia for a family in Miami. Moss walls, a manzanita tree chandelier, and the animals. The one hotel, sorry, we'll go back, right? How'd I go back? There we go. You want to get in the picture? No, you're right? Okay. So this is the one hotel that was mentioned earlier by our friend, colleague on the panel. And we were engaged by them. This was our first truly biophilic experience across the board. We did the whole hotel, all interior design from a plant perspective, common areas, rooms, residences. And this wall became quite well known. It's a moss wall. It's called Day Life Swimmer because not all of life is about nightlife. Day life is very important for nature. And this evolved with the one hotel. We did their jungle behind reception. So you get nailed with biophilic design. You get totally immersed the minute you walk in. These are the guest rooms with hanging moss spheres, vanda orchids, floor plants. Then you've got upcycled televisions. Rather than take them to the dumps, we recycled them into dioramas, or what we call good news TV in this day and age of bad news, right? So here we've got our mix of millwork and plants at the 1 Hotel residences. We've got a tabletop there in a residence, again, just immersing them and completely in moss. And this obviously reminds us of biophilia every day and what's most important in life. So our moss optical art has really taken off, and we're now on our 12th mural. We're installing it in Australia next month. This was our second one. It's called Leap. Supposedly when you leap, you lose your true inhibitions. You show your true self. So if you don't trust anyone, make them jump tonight, and you'll figure it out. Jump in front of you, nothing else. All right, but this is Leap in New York. This is another piece that we did in New Jersey called Sailing on the Hudson. Since it's optical art, it's very abstract. When you take a picture of it or you look at it from a distance, it totally becomes a cohesive image. This is a piece called Dawn and Dusk. And this is one of our earlier pieces, the Starbucks Mermaid at a Starbucks in Disney World. Here we go to a more recent Starbucks in Miami that won top 50 design Starbucks with a moss map and a moss coffee plantation. And here's another one we got engaged for. It's a purpose-driven co-work space. And the world of co-work spaces has gotten really competitive. These people got it right. It's all with a purpose. They retained us as their biophilia ambassadors, and we've threaded the needle from the rooftop all the way to the ground floor. This is our piece called Creation, all based on sacred geometry. This is a white bark wall with their logo. This is a different way to display live plants around the bar area. This is a moss vestibule. So again, totally immersive in ways, and for those of you who probably will ask the question, these are preserved plants. So we only work with real or preserved plants, nothing fake, because there's enough fake news in the world today, right? So this is another moss wall with logo and messaging, so again, to bring nature into everything we do. This is an example this is a Chanchan ruin from Peru, where we've created it as if it's an overgrown Chanchan Peruvian ruin as a ceviche restaurant in Miami. And as we talk about using natural materials in creative ways, these are mushrooms, they're preserved mushrooms, and we call this piece Mushroom Reef. This was done in Mallorca, Spain. As we've evolved from an interior scape company to an art gallery to now exterior landscape, this is our examples of our exterior landscape. Live vertical gardens, the Faena Hotel in Miami, a private residence. And then what's happened? We've become artists. It's a little crazy to think that we went from a plant shop to artists, but that's where we're at, botanical artists. And we did the first exhibition last year around Real Madrid, Barcelona, but we also view soccer as an amazing communications platform for sustainability. And this was amazing. It's now going to Ibiza for the whole summer and then to Dubai, all right? We were engaged by Facebook to do an exhibition on ephemerality. So these are live and preserved plants. They're like a living botanical art piece. Sorry, I know I'm blocking your view. Called Soon It Will Be Gone. We also did a piece called While It Lasts. We did something with Yoko Ono because we believe in expressing your feelings, either in writing or verbally. This is our wishing tree installation with Yoko Ono. And that evolved into another collaboration with a Japanese artist named Song Kim, very talented. She upcycles found objects from all over Japan. We teamed up with her and created a wishing chandelier, last Art Basel in Miami. That now has evolved into a full-force exhibition with her in Japan, which now is coming back to Miami for a bigger exhibition, this Art Basel, bringing Japanese and US found objects together in a sign of peace and expression for sustainability. So you ask, why are we at a fashion summit? But this is more than a fashion summit, right? But this is what happened to us last year. So we went from plant shop to what, and now we're here. Fashion. Reindeer moss, bark, mushrooms, in collaboration with some great friends, Felder and Felder. We also did these Amazon crowns. And I'm happy to say that we've got Felder and Felder in the house with us. And let's see if the Felder sisters, are they here? Where are they? They're hiding. And our biophilia and sustainable fashion ambassador, Lola Ponce. They, Lola Ponce, in addition. Okay, okay, let's go. Yeah. Lola Ponce will be, so these are some of our showpieces. By the way, this all starts with upcycled clothing, which is layered on top with natural materials ranging from reindeer moss to bark to mushrooms. We'll show you some other plants tomorrow, preserved plants. Are we going to mention some other thing? Is that my call to finish? Is it? We're okay? We're okay? Okay. Or is that the catwalk music? No? All right. So, all right. Anyway, well, look, this, guys, for all of you, I hope you all get to see Lola Ponce tomorrow night singing for our closing party. And she'll be showcasing another one of our pieces tomorrow night. She has an amazing voice. And then Paloma's passing around a new collaboration of jewelry with Isabel Engelbert. I hope I got that right. Isabel Engelbert, are you around? Isabel, please stand up. So this is our latest collaboration into accessories. Again, extending our work. And I'll close out just by saying a couple things. First of all, I hope, again, our objective, how do we create a more sustainable culture? We do it by inspiring people to think about nature and sustainability that way through biophilia. And I hope we've uncovered your subconscious biophilic instincts. Think about them. You'll think about them after this for sure. And we'd like to thank Andrea for really pulling together. This is more than Omina. It's more than Omen. You're beyond that now. This is reality. You've taken this from an omen to reality. We're all working together to create and fast track making sustainability the default without sacrificing great design. So thank you very much. All right? Gracias. Felicidades,
Wow, eso estuvo espectacular. Estamos tan pasados de tiempo, pero tan pasados de tiempo que no sé, o sea, pero bueno, si alguien tiene una pregunta, it's now or never. Okay, the first one.
Hello. Aaron, what's up with your tie?
Oh, you know what? I actually had my written notes. Who asked that, by the way? You. Oh, Diego, thank you. You know what? I had it in my notes. I said I was going to get distracted by all these great women, amazing women, and I did. This tie, I actually made them. I said, it can't all be about women. I respect you all, but there's got to be something for us men. So I got my tie. It's a tree bark tie painted blue. And if you like them, oh, yeah, thank you. There's nothing else, just a tie, all right? But anyway, this is a tree bark tie. Actually, it's an upcycled Hugo Boss tie where the threads got pulled. So instead of me throwing it away or giving it to Goodwill, which would have been a good feat, we actually upcycled it into a piece of botanical design. So thanks for asking.
Very
Diego.
cool.
Yo quería preguntarle a Paloma, ¿qué es lo que tenemos? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto?
Es musgo, cristales, musgo, madera, mulch, very cheap.
¿Y cuál es la significación de esto? ¿Qué es esta corona?
Estas coronas las hicimos con las Felder, nuestras amigas, para regalarle a mujeres, para darles fuerza. Somos nosotras las que vamos a cambiar el mundo, tenemos que estar juntas, tenemos que... Cuando encuentro hombres como Paul, me maravillo de la vida. Y bueno, nada, hicimos estas coronas se las vamos a regalar. Tenemos muchas para regalar y queremos darle fuerza para que cuando termine y tengamos que enfrentarnos a un montón de cosas, no perdamos la fuerza y sepamos que somos nosotras las que vamos a cuidar a nuestra madre tierra. Gracias.
Let's go dance. Let's go dance. Thank you, everybody. Tomorrow, 8:30 to start with, to do the accreditation here, and we are starting 10 sharp. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. Oh, and remember, please, the production team are telling me, remember the after party to have a drink. Where is it today? in Santos, here in Avenida Escazú, if you want to have a drink, you can go
Bien.
and ask all the questions you couldn't ask here.
Qué sudor.
Okay, thank you.
Nada más.
Please return your headsets at the counter. Please remember to return the headsets at the counter.